or my hair. Kind of give it a minute. Let some people trickle in. Maybe I need to go like so. Yeah, that works. Okay. Not bad though. Boop. Hope you guys can read the info. All right, how do you morally justify how do you morally justify your animal use? And I've got a couple resources. If you're curious about the nutrition, you can go to nutritionfacts.org, check out the Dailey Dozen. But you need to figure out the why, which is why you should go watch Dominion. It's free on YouTube, just shows you the standard practices. And then you gotta be over 18. TikTok rules. I also just don't want to talk to children, thank you. All right, if you're under 18, I will boot you. How old are you?
18.
What year were you born?
2006.
Okay. Why aren't you, or excuse me, how do you morally justify your animal use?
Well, just because, like, I think I may have talked to you before, I'm not 1,000% sure, but, so my family, we hunt and we also own a farm / my grandparents, and I just feel like it's okay as long as you're treating your animals well and as long as it's, like, the slaughter is quick and, like, as painless as it can be.
I mean, do you understand that animals are sentient beings?
Well, yeah, I understand that.
Do you know what sentience means?
Yeah, like they're able to have not like I guess a conscious experience like you and I, not to the same level, but like they're they're able to have a individual experience.
They would have, yes, they would have their own unique subjective experience, right?
Yeah.
So does that also mean that they have the capacity to suffer?
Yeah, they do.
So if they can suffer and we can't, well, actually, I'll ask you, do you think there is anything that we need from animals that we can't get from other sources?
I don't believe there's anything we need from animals that we can't get from other sources, but I do definitely feel like animals are an easier way. They're a quicker way. I definitely feel like we need a more sustainable way to do it because, yes, it is very much hurting our climate. And we are definitely a very climate forward farm. We try to do as much climate friendly things as we can. But I feel like it's an easier way, right? And because humans, we are at the top of the food chain, we do things to make our lives easier, to make our lives quicker.
Is it easier though? Because animals eat so much more, they take so much more water. We actually have studies that show if we eliminated animal agriculture, we could feed 10 billion people on only a quarter of the ag land that we currently use. Currently, we dedicate 83% of our agricultural land to just purely raising animals for their flesh and secretions and for their food. And we only get 18% of the calories, so 83% of our land dedicated to this, and we're only getting 18% of our calories.
Well, yeah, but also I kind of look at it like this. We have so much animal agriculture, but also we have so many jobs because of that. So many people are feeding their families. So many people are
Yeah.
having jobs they wouldn't have if they couldn't.
Okay, so let's go back to the ethics here. I'll touch on the people having jobs, but the whole point that I'm trying to focus on the most is that animals are sentient. And as you agreed, there's nothing we need from them to survive. If we can get everything else from other sources, wouldn't using someone when you don't need to without their consent, wouldn't that be immoral?
Well, no, because again, they're animals, and God gave us animals
Okay,
to
what
eat.
if it was you? What if it were you?
Well, then if
What if
it
you
was
were the
me, then that's
victim?
just the way the world goes round. Like, if something bigger
Would
and
you
better than,
accept that or would you want it to stop?
well, yes, obviously I would want it to stop, but again, I would be like, this is how the world
So
works, right? There's so many above me.
what kind of oppressor are you? When you say if you were in that position, you would demand mercy. Whether or not you got it is not the question. You would demand mercy. And you right now, as the oppressor, are not providing that mercy. You're saying your convenience matters more than their entire life.
Well, no, I'm not saying I would demand it. I would be like,
So
yeah, I really don't.
I want you to understand what sentience is. Sentience is having experiences and weighing them out and making preferences on it. We like to avoid harm. We prefer to be comfortable. Typically, we look forward to things. So what makes it okay to rob an animal of having further experiences, but not okay to do that to a human? Let's say that has similar cognition.
Well, because again, there's human, and just being human in yourself gives you inherently more value than an animal.
Why?
Because as humans, we value our own species over
Okay.
anything else.
What about humans do we value?
The fact that that's our species, that we're in the same species.
Is it because we can see ourselves in other humans?
I would say that plays a part in it, but again, like even humans we don't see ourselves in,
So
we still.
would it be right? Would it be that because me as a human, because you only really know what's going on in your own head, right? I know that I'm having a subjective experience. And whether or not I can communicate with you, because I recognize that you're also a human, I can safely assume that you too are having a subjective experience. That means that you have the capacity to suffer, you have the ability to enjoy things, right? You exist, you enjoy existing, and you have a personal interest in continuing to exist and have further experiences, right? That's what I recognize in you. I don't care how intelligent you are. I don't care what you provide for me or society. The fact that you are sentient alone, not sapient, but sentient, that's what matters. That's what I care about in other humans, right?
Well,
Or do you disagree? Do you value someone's intelligence more? Does someone
no,
have to be
I
intelligent for
value
you to respect them?
no, I value the fact that they're human, right? Just the fact that you are human alone, I would value
What
more.
about being human though? Is it DNA? Is it what we
Well, no,
look
it's the fact
like?
that I am human and you are also human, and
I know, but
therefore,
this is why this is disingenuous. If you came across Superman, would you then think it's your right to use him?
well, no, because in that world, if we were able to, I guess, overpower Superman and he would be useful for the military, then yeah, sure.
You would enslave Superman?
Well, obviously, I'm not saying like keep him chained up in like someone's basement. Like, no.
What else would you do? How else would you overpower? Like, I just want to understand. Like, I'm talking about using someone without their consent. And you're saying, yeah, it's okay to do that to Superman.
If in some world he existed and we were able to
Yeah,
overpower him and he would be
yeah,
useful to us, that
yeah.
would make the most sense.
Oh, that's so sad. We might be at an impasse that, well, you know what? Actually, I'll take it back to another example, but I'm really sad to hear that you would enslave Superman. That's so sad. Okay, I'll move it to a dog. I have a dog here, and I'm going to use them for my exercise. If I didn't do this, I wouldn't get my exercise. I'm going to kick this dog. Do you think that's moral?
No, because there are easier and more effective options to
For me,
then.
this is the most convenient option. I
But
can't
like
go
in
out
what
running, it's
world?
dangerous. My world that I'm giving you right now.
But like
I
that's
can't go
unrealistic.
outside. This is it. I have to kick this dog for exercise. Is that moral?
No, because like in this situation,
I
I'm
could
assuming you.
still kick something else. Whether it's more effective or not doesn't matter. I can still go kick something else, and to cause this dog unnecessary harm is immoral, right?
Yes, I would
Right.
agree.
Would you say that it's immoral because the dog is suffering?
Yes, I would say that it's immoral because the
Right.
dog isn't necessarily suffering.
So I'm telling you that you're currently kicking dogs. Stop kicking dogs. You're escalating the violence, in fact, by removing their head when you don't need to. You can just eat something else. And I know that sounds scary, but there's easy, readily available evidence to teach you how to eat. It's not as hard as you think. It's really simple, I promise.
It's not about like hardness. Like I could very much easily go vegan, like
All
if
right, let
I
me put it
wanted
this
to.
way. Let's say we could unalive the animal in the conventional, horrible way. We could unalive the animal in a humane way, or we could just not unalive the animal at all. Which would the animal prefer?
The animal would probably prefer not to be unalived at all.
So, if it's what the animal prefers and you don't need to use them, why are you not respecting their preferences to be left alone?
Because again, like as humans, yes, their
You can't
preference
even
would be.
identify to me what it is about humans. You even said that it's wrong for me to kick the dog. The
Well, yes,
dog is
because
not
again, you're
human.
not
Is a
getting.
dog human? Is a dog human?
Yes, but again, I already said I
No,
advocate
no,
for
no.
ethical
Is
slaughter.
a dog human?
No.
Right. Can the dog suffer?
Yes.
Does that matter?
Yes.
Okay, so if it matters and I should take it into consideration, and since the dog suffers and I can kick something else, I should not kick the dog. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, but again, like there's more
So,
humane ways.
what are you doing that is currently demanding someone's oppression and exploitation when you don't need to? Three times a
Again,
day.
like eventually I am gonna have to take over my grandparents' farm when my parents are
You
old
don't
because they
have
are.
to. You can change it. There's actually a resource I can give you. It's called the Ranchers Advocacy Program, and it's run by Renee at Rowdy Girl Sanctuary. Her and her husband used to run a ranch, and they've converted into a sanctuary, and they're on a mission to help other people who are uh, making money off of using animals and trying to help them still utilize their land however they wish, but not using animals, and they'll help you figure that out. So you
Well,
don't have to. You don't have to continue what your grandparents are doing.
again, I don't have to, but I'm not gonna throw away almost 100 years of hard
You
work.
could do something else. You could do something else for that farm and still keep the spirit of the farm alive.
My if my grandparents ever found out I got rid of and
It's
I
not
turned it
about
into
them, it's
something
about
else.
your principles. Do you feel good? Wow, it's a dairy farm?
Yes, I some of my best
Okay,
memories
hold
are
on.
on that farm.
I need you to stop for a second. You need to tell me what the process is for a cow to have milk. Go.
I've never been in it, but like some of my best memories are on the farm with my grandfather
Okay,
sitting
I
on the
need you to
porch.
stop. I need you to stop. You need to learn right now what it is that your grandparents do. A cow is a mammal. When does a mammal produce milk?
After they get pregnant.
It's for her babies. Where are the babies?
They're usually taken, and if they're a boy, they're usually sold for veal, or if they're a girl, they're either used for milk or sometimes beef.
How is the cow impregnated?
Usually through insemination.
And describe that to me.
Well, usually the female cow is put into a device where she is held still, and then the male
Where she
is,
can't move. She can't move.
well, it's to keep her and the other cow
From
safe.
escaping. Keep her from escaping.
Well, no, if we just let them free, they would hurt
Continue.
themselves. But
Continue.
she's put into something to
Into
keep her
a
still.
grape rack, right?
She's put into something to keep her still, and then the male cow is,
Grapes her.
well, no. It's
You
not.
just held a female down so she couldn't escape and let a randy male have his way with her. If it was a human context, you put a human woman in a cattle crush so she can't get away, so that a randy male can come up behind her and do as he pleases, so that she gets pregnant and has a 9 months pregnancy, and then we steal the baby. Does that sound humane with human context?
Well, no, but again, animals aren't humans. We don't give them the
Right.
same moral
But
considerations as
again,
humans.
cows can suffer and they're extremely maternal. Actually, cows are one of the most studied animals. They're extremely maternal. And the reason why you have to separate them within 24 hours is because it's considered more inhumane to wait longer because the bond between them is so strong. So, how does it feel to know that you're going to take over a farm that grapes cows, steals babies to drink baby formula?
Knowing that I'm keeping it feels amazing knowing I'm keeping my grandparents' legacy alive.
That's so sad. You contradicted yourself a lot because if it were dogs, I guarantee you'd feel different. I gave you the dog example where I'm kicking a dog. You said I should stop. Why
If in
would
the
you
context,
continue? Why would you continue to grape cows? Why would you continue that?
if in the context we were using dogs for the same thing we're using animals for, if we were using them for their milk
Well,
and their
we
meat
do
and their
this to
food.
dogs. We do this to dogs, actually. We do grape dogs so that we can sell their puppies. So that does happen.
Okay, again, like it's not grape selling. That's not
What
illegal.
is
So
grape? What is grape?
grape
Is
is
it penetration? Can a human grape an animal?
yes, but a human
Oh,
needs to be involved in order for it to be
so
considered grape.
so do you understand that most dairy is actually artificially inseminated? The process that your farm does is like a very small percentage. Most farmers glove up and put their arm inside of the cow because it's more efficient. And many farmers have actually told me that when the males mount the females, it's actually inhumane because the males are aggressive and often hurt the females, which is why they try to get away.
Well, again, what I've been told, this is the most humane and the most ethical way to do this, and
Okay,
it's
what does
also
the cow prefer? To be able to pick her own mate, to have a farmer pick her mate, or to have a farmer put his arm up her butt? What do you think she would prefer?
I would have to assume she would prefer to pick her own.
Who chooses though when she gets pregnant and who she gets raped by? Who chooses that?
Usually
The
the
farmer.
farm
The farmer.
workers,
Yeah. Yeah. I don't understand how you don't have sympathy for this female cow.
because it's a cow.
She's being raped. You have to
It's
literally hold
not
her
great.
down.
It's
You
not great.
you're literally holding her down so she can be penetrated by a penis.
Okay, you're making it sound much more graphic than it really is. All
That's what
she's
it
doing
is,
is being
honey.
held
That's
still so that way
she's
she does not hurt herself or someone else. So
while
that way she
she's
doesn't
being
hurt the
raped.
farmer.
While she's being raped.
No, we're doing this for
Yeah.
her protection, the protection
She's
of the
being
farmers, and the
raped.
protection of the cow.
She's being raped. You don't need to force these two individuals together. You don't need to do it.
If we want milk
We
and we
don't
want meat,
need,
yes.
but what I'm saying is we can get those from plants. You don't need to use a sentient being. Why must you cause them to suffer? What is more preferable? An animal suffering, an animal being happy but then being unalived and used, or an animal being able to just live their free life and not be violated? Which would the animal prefer?
The animal would probably prefer to live their free life, but again, if
So
cows want
why do you deserve to violate animals? Why do you deserve that?
because again, we humans, we are at the top of the food chain. We hold the
We're not
power.
the
Now,
top of the food chain. Those are carnivores. You don't understand what the food chain is. It's the transfer of energy. So the top
okay,
of the
well,
food chain get the least amount of energy from the grass. It's like 100% of the grass going into the herbivore. When you eat the herbivore, you only get 10% of that energy. Animals are highly inefficient. The way that we now feed the world is really selfish because we only feed people in the West animals, and while people in other countries starve because they're focused on growing grains to fatten your animals. So it's
again,
not
that's why I
efficient.
said we need a more humane
It's
way.
toxic to humans. You're stealing someone's life. Like, is it wrong to kick a cow?
Unnecessarily, yeah.
Okay, isn't it wrong then to penetrate her unnecessarily?
No, because again, this isn't like she's like kicked, like she's screaming and fighting. This is just like some graphic
I just can't
scene.
believe. How do you not hear yourself? You sound like a supremacist because they're not in my group. They're not in my species specifically. I can oppress them. They literally care about living just like you do. They don't want to be touched.
I'm not
Like,
oppressing them. I
why
literally said
is
I
it your
believe in.
right? Just because someone isn't as intelligent as you and doesn't look like you, it's okay for you to fiddle with their private parts, steal their babies, and take their life.
Again, no, no one's just going up there and fiddling with the private parts for funsies.
They are. They are, though. They are. It's for
Listen,
funsies because it's for taste pleasure. It's all for taste pleasure. You're literally getting sensory pleasure from using someone else's body.
but that's not the only thing we're getting. We're also getting
That is
nutrition.
what you're getting. That is what you're
Yes, we are
getting. You
also
don't
getting
need
that, but we're also getting
anything.
nutrition.
You don't need anything from animal products. Nothing. You
You're
need
right, we
nothing from
don't.
them.
But again, we
So
have the
why are you
option to use
using
it.
someone's
Because we
body?
have the option to. Humans run the world. So again, if we
So you
have
would be for slavery if slavery was around because you had the option?
no, because again, slaves are
So you
human.
are against injustice.
When it comes to humans, 1,000%.
Again, there is no difference between humans and animals that morally matter.
But we inherently value our own species over other people, just like
That's just
lions
a
value their
bias. You're
species.
literally just saying, I'm biased. That's like a
Just
white
like
person
lions
saying,
value their species
hush,
over humans.
hush. You're talking like a white supremacist, okay? You're saying because I see myself in other white people, then I respect them. But people that look different, I don't respect them. That's literally what you're saying. Animals look different and think different. Therefore, it's okay that I oppress them. That's what you're doing. You're using arbitrary traits to justify oppression. You're stealing someone's life. You're kicking dogs and removing their heads. I think I'm going to move on. You have a good day. We're obviously getting nowhere. Oh my God. Intelligence is an arbitrary trait. We have humans that are not intelligent. She was literally just focused on DNA. She said she would enslave Superman, but when it came to dogs, you have to stop kicking them because to her, in her opinion, it's not as efficient. So then when I told her that using animals isn't efficient, oh, well, I don't care. It's just my right to use your animals. You're just all over the place. If you literally just move your goalpost and stay inconsistent, it sounds like she has an argument. But really, she's just not making sense and not sticking to her principles. She just has it in her mind. She wants to taste, she wants to open up animals, lick their insides. She likes that they get grapes so that she can drink their baby's milk. She has no problem that someone has their baby stolen from them. Cows, extremely maternal animals. They bellow for their babies for days. Cows that have been taken to sanctuaries have been shown to have PTSD from having their babies stolen. PTSD! Like, you're a disgusting human being. And you know, it doesn't surprise me that an oppressor like you is like that. You have to degrade the ones that you're oppressing so that you feel good about harming them, about stealing from them. It's just, you don't need to breed them anymore. You can grow crops on your farm. You can be a sanctuary for those cows. Why must you penetrate them, steal their babies, and rub your fingers on their udders? It's just disgusting. Who wants to do that? Stop touching cows' private parts. Stop graping cows. Oh, it's frustrating. I don't know what order this came in. Hey, Sel. You got to be over 18.
Hello?
Are you over 18?
Yeah, I'm 23.
Okay. How do you morally justify your animal use?
Well, if I eat meat and I eat plants, what's wrong with that?
Well, animals are a sentient being.
Yeah, so am I.
Right.
I can eat
So
whatever I want.
for the same reasons it'd be wrong for me to chop you up and eat you, it's wrong to chop up animals and eat them.
Understandable. So
Okay.
you just admitted that you would eat me.
That's not what I said.
Yeah, yes you
Can
did.
you
You said you would chop me up and eat me.
are you here to have a genuine conversation or just
Yeah,
to
yeah,
be a
yeah.
jackass?
No,
Okay. Okay. So what does sentience mean?
like conscious, like well,
Yeah?
yeah. Can't explain it fully, but
Okay. So it means someone, a subject, experiencing life, weighing out those experiences, and deciding whether they prefer them or not. They usually prefer to avoid harm and they prefer to be comfortable. And they have a personal interest in continuing to have more of those experiences to weigh out. Does that
right.
make sense?
Yes,
So they have
but
the capacity to feel joy and suffer.
if I want to eat a pig and I eat plants, is that morally wrong?
If you eat plants instead of the pig,
No, if I eat bacon and
yeah.
plants, is that wrong?
Okay. I don't know why you keep bringing up plants. Veganism literally has nothing to do with plants. It's just that we eat a plant-based diet.
Or vegan food in general.
Okay, it don't care if you're
So
eating
if I eat meat,
stop. I don't think you understand. All right, if you're trying to go down like what veganism is, it's
let me
about
try and
not
explain.
hold on a second. I need you to hush. It's about avoiding the exploitation of sentient beings. It has nothing to do with plants, okay? I don't know why you keep talking about plants. I'm talking about your animal use. I don't care if you eat potatoes next to your steak, you're eating someone's flesh, period.
So if I eat bacon or vegan type foods, is that morally wrong?
I'm going to give you one more time and then I'm going to boot you if you're just going to be a jackass.
If I eat bacon or
What
vegan
morally
type food,
justifies
is that wrong?
what morally justifies putting pigs in gas chambers?
I don't know all the ins and outs of
What
fucking
morally
farm.
justifies putting pigs in gas chambers?
How do I know? I haven't looked it up.
You're demanding it. You should know this. You came up here.
I want meat. Simple as.
Yeah.
I want
So
cows. I want
why don't you eat dogs?
some places in the world eat dogs
Why don't you?
because I like dogs. Because dog
Yeah, why don't you eat
because
them?
dogs have more morally on our same level. Dogs can help us around. Have
Pigs are
more
more
useful
intelligent than
for
dogs.
humans.
Pigs are
Huh?
way more intelligent than dogs.
Prove it.
Go look it up. I don't
Well,
have to prove anything to you. My
do you know
point
what
is that
dogs are
animals
used
are
for?
sentient.
You know what dogs
What?
are used for?
Yeah, they're also abused. Using dogs is immoral as well.
You know what a guide dog is?
Yes, I know what a guide
Okay,
dog is.
explain it to me then.
They help blind people.
So we don't eat them, but some parts of the world
So,
do.
they still have flesh. Why don't you?
Why don't
Why
I
don't
have
you eat
left
dogs? Why don't
because
you
I
eat
don't
dogs?
want to eat dogs.
Is it because you recognize that dogs have a personality?
Yes, but I eat certain types of
So
meat.
I just told you that pigs are smarter than dogs. Don't you think they also have personalities?
Depends.
Maybe you should go meet a pig.
I actually worked on a college course that works with animals.
Maybe you need to spend more time with them. Go to a
Nah,
sanctuary
nah,
where they're in their
nah.
natural
I'm good.
state.
That's been
Why?
and
Does
gone.
it scare you? Does it scare you to know your victims?
No,
It
actually,
sounds
I
like it
hate
does.
turkeys, but I still eat them.
Okay. Do you have to like someone to respect them, or do you just go around shoving and harming people
I
that bother
respect
you?
all types of people, right? But
Right. And why do
people
you do
like you
that?
are just being
Why do you
toxic as
do that?
fuck.
Why do you
What
respect
was
people? You wouldn't harm me though. So like what why would you still respect me even though I'm obviously mean to you?
I don't know, because I just respect people. I know there's
Is
been
it
toxic,
because you
but
know that I have the ability to suffer and you don't want to cause me to suffer unnecessarily?
well, do you want me to suffer?
That's not the question. I'm saying, why do you want to respect other people even if they frustrate you?
Because I just tolerate it.
Is it because you know that they are having a subjective experience and they might potentially suffer unnecessarily?
Well, everyone suffers in their own way.
I know, but
Like,
for you to cause them unnecessary suffering, you wouldn't want to
but
do
I
that.
don't.
That's what
I
I'm
don't
saying.
cause
You don't
anyone.
want, but you avoid doing so on purpose, correct?
Yes,
Right.
but to my own
Because you don't
species.
want to cause them suffering. Right. But you're respecting the fact that they have the capacity to suffer. That's my point. You don't care about their intelligence. You don't care about what they focus on, what they even look like, I'm sure. You just, they're alive. They're a human having a subjective experience. They have the capacity to suffer. I'm not going to interrupt that. Right?
Everything on this planet suffers. Do you understand that?
I like
Not
that you
just
can't
animals.
focus on what I'm talking about. You have to pivot.
I'm
I'm
not
talking
pivoting.
about animal or
I'm
humans. I'm talking
just.
about humans and their ability to suffer. Is that what you respect?
Humans do suffer. Yes.
Do you respect that though? Or do you go around just
Yes.
causing harm to whoever? Right. Okay.
People suffer
I'm
in this
telling
world.
you that animals suffer and you don't need to cause them
Yes, who
unnecessary
doesn't suffer in
suffering.
this on this fucking
But you
planet?
don't need, yes, but okay, so we shouldn't make any effort to stop any injustice. We shouldn't fight for civil rights. We shouldn't fight for gender rights. We shouldn't do any of it, right?
Like,
That's what
if
you're
it's
doing right now. You're appealing to futility.
you, I support you. Yeah, do you? If you're vegan, I support that. Yeah,
Right. You do
pick
you
up the
unless there's
vegan,
a victim
pick
involved.
up the
You do you
LGBTQ
unless there's a
HDMI fan.
victim involved. Unless there's a victim involved. You have a
Yes,
victim. So stop
Vic
having a victim.
of
Eat
what?
something else.
No, you can't make me.
You sound like a childish grapist. Like, I'm going to keep graping
You
because
call
it's
me
my
a
pleasure.
rapist?
Grapist, thank you. Yeah, I am.
Rapist.
Because I'm okay, well, you have a great day then. I'm
Okay
not
then.
going to talk to people that are going to just try to bring down the live. My point is, you're using someone else's body for your pleasure, and you won't let go of that. You're like, it's my pleasure that matters more. It's funny you mentioned my smartphone, but you also are on electronics, so I don't know what your point is. Oh, I'm actually going to make you guys wait for a second. What is with all these disingenuous yuppies? Like, everyone wants to deny that animals suffer and that it matters. But if it were their companion, I guarantee they would feel different. Even if someone just scared your companion, just went, bah! Out of nowhere. You would be like, what are you doing? Why are you causing them unnecessary harm? I'm sure you would feel the same if you saw cows and someone was going out there just slapping the crap out of them. You'd be like, stop! What are you doing? No, but it's okay to remove their head so that I can lick their insides. That's not crazy or anything. That's not demonic. It just sounds like you guys are making blood sacrifices. That's what it sounds like. They're licking the inside of the cow. That's what beef is, honey. Oh, my current plan is to, we could take the subsidies used to fatten the animals and use that for the current animals that are alive right now, care for them until they naturally pass away, like 20 years from now. And then stop focusing on growing their food. We reduce our agricultural land use by 75%. We could feed over our population. So that's my plan. Yeah, plants are not sentient. Okay. Let's see who waited. I would like, I don't know. Pink Razor. Are you over 18?
Yes, I am.
Right on. All right. How do you morally justify your animal use?
Okay, so I also grew up on a farm, and we've been unaliving animals since the beginning of time for a food source. And yes, there are some places that do it in the most inhumane way possible, and I don't support those places. But I just wanted to like touch base on a few points that you made earlier about the whole grape
Before you
situation.
continue, just
For
because
sure.
otherwise I gotta write a list. I just want to say though, and then you can continue. Is there like even if I could hug someone, let's say a human, hug them to death, they felt so good, but they wanted to live. Would that be moral for me to take their life?
Whoa, what? That
I could give someone the most pleasurable way to pass away, but they wanted to live. They didn't want to pass away. Would that be moral?
I've never heard of somebody unaliving from a hug. That's new.
I know.
You'd have to
Yeah.
be like Shaquille O'Neal and like Kevin Hart. You know what I mean?
Sure. Sure. But like let's say Shaquille O'Neal and Kevin Hart are hugging people that want to live, but they're hugging them to death. Is that moral? Or hugging them to unalive, excuse me, sorry, TikTok.
I don't know. I can't even imagine it. So I mean, maybe
Would you
I don't.
prefer what would you want if you were in that situation? You're the one being hugged. Would you want them to stop?
I mean, personally, if Shaquille O'Neal tried to hug me, I would like be the happiest person in the world because of Shaquille O'Neal. You know what I mean?
That's fair for your consent. Let's say it's someone that does not like Shaquille O'Neal or Kevin Hart. They are like phobic of them, but they're still getting a nice hug to death. I'm just saying, like, even if we could give someone a pleasant passing, but they wanted to live, would that be moral?
I mean, I understand where your argument is coming from.
Just answer it. Just answer yes or no. Would that be moral to
I
take
can't
someone's life?
understand your ideology when it doesn't make sense.
If you can't answer it, I'll just
There's
move
no
on.
metaphor though. Like there's no
I need you to
metaphor.
answer or we'll move on.
How can I
Is it
answer
moral?
something that? Yeah, for
Is
sure.
it
You can hug
moral?
somebody.
Is it, I'm going to repeat it. I think you're getting worked up. Bring it down. I'm just trying to say, is it moral to take someone's life who wanted to keep living? Yes or no? You can focus on humans if that makes you more comfortable. Is it moral to kindly take a human's life away from them? You're muted. It's right there. I just needed you to listen to
Oh,
me.
my bad. I mean, you're gonna hate this, but I do support mercy on unalivings, if that makes sense.
Oh, no. Not by consent. Not by
No, but some
consent.
of the there's some people that are vegetables that they have no consent. So it, unfortunately,
Okay, a healthy human being.
no, not a healthy person, obviously, no.
Right.
If the person
Okay,
is
I'm glad we
suffering,
finally
living
got there.
pain, for sure.
Right, if it's in their best interest, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about unaliving someone when they didn't want to be unalived and it's not in their best interest.
Right.
Would that ever be
not
moral,
morally right.
even in the
No,
kindest way?
that's
I
immoral.
agree. Correct. I agree. So then what is it then about animals that makes it okay to rob them of their future experiences when it's wrong to do it to a human?
To be honest, I mean, I'm gonna assume in most places it's population control, because they would be overrun. And
Oh, why don't we do that
if
to
we were,
humans?
well, what do you mean? We kind of do. Like we
Well,
just we're
humans are overpopulated. But
They are
is it moral?
overpopulated. They are
Is it
overpopulated.
moral?
And
But is it
unfortunately,
moral?
no, it's not moral, bro. Okay, I do not
Okay.
support that. China has been doing that
Thank
for
you.
hundreds of years. They only are allowed
Yeah.
to have 2 kids, and if they have
Not
three,
anymore. They
they
stopped
will.
doing that. But I
No,
understand your point.
okay, for sure.
They're not doing that anymore. But the point is, I'm just trying to talk about what's moral, not what is happening right now. What do you personally, what do you think is right and wrong? That's it. That's all I'm trying to point out. What do you think is right and wrong? Yeah. So what is it about animals that makes it okay for us to do that to them, but not to humans?
I mean, it comes down to if we didn't eat them, they would eat us. So
A cow? A pig?
I mean, they eat the grass.
Chickens?
They eat the wheat that we eat.
I don't think you believe this.
I'm saying that if we were overpopulated by chickens, they would be eating all the wheat, and then we wouldn't have wheat to make bread.
But the animals are only at their numbers because we artificially inseminate them and force them to mate.
For sure,
Like we
but there's
do.
some places in Switzerland that doesn't do that. They don't do artificial insemination. They let them run wild, and they let them
It
mate,
doesn't
and
matter.
they let
The
them breed
point
their own
is,
way.
my point is, we're
Okay.
forcing them together to make them breed. We can control their numbers. We can stop them from procreating at all. In fact, if you're willing to hear me out, I think that domesticated animals shouldn't exist at all. And the way I would plan to go about that is that animals that have been bred to be completely dependent on us, who cannot survive on their own, that's what domestication means,
Hmm.
then we should not allow them to procreate, as their babies will also be dependent on us. And to me, that's a cruelty right there. So if we help them not pro, procreate and just care for them until they naturally pass, about 20 years from now, there wouldn't be any more domesticated animals at all. There wouldn't be a population issue at all. In fact, we would reduce our land use by 75%. We could feed 10 billion people on a quarter of our agricultural land because we wouldn't be feeding all these animals.
No, I totally somewhat support that. It's hard to see people that have birds in cages when they deserve to be free to fly. Especially if they
Right.
have other pets. And but the thing is that like my cats are such picky eaters, and like they will not eat anything fish related. Like they won't eat shrimp, they won't eat sardines, they won't eat anything shrimp. And I'm like, if they were out in the wild right now, they would literally starve because they are so picky at what they eat.
Yeah.
And like same with dogs also, like the dogs have been like bred in such ways that now like their genetics, like a bulldog for example, I mean, yeah, they're pretty ferocious, but like for long distances they would not
Yeah.
survive. They would get
Right.
picked on right away. And that's, I don't know, but so there's,
I
and like
totally
it's the
agree. Yeah.
sad thing is that seeing like tigers, you know what I mean, being taken out of their natural habitat and being put on zoos and circuses and stuff like that. Like my point is that when you're reaching out to people, like I respect your life, I understand where you're coming from, sign the petitions to get those circuses shut down or to get those tigers, set free. And sign the petitions for the pandas also to be put back in their natural
Yeah.
habitat,
All the
because it's
animals.
bullshit that China owns 100% of the pandas in the world. I didn't
I
know that we
mean,
could lease a panda. Like I,
no one, yeah, no one should own the pandas. They should only, if anything, just be in some kind of rehabilitation, but no one should own any of these wild
um,
animals.
but fun fact though, the reason why they are owned is because they don't reprocreate. They literally don't
Yeah,
reproduce.
that's okay. That's
Unfortunately,
okay.
and this is kind of gross, but unfortunately, they have to assist in that. And same with koala bears. Koala
I mean,
bears
they,
also don't reproduce naturally on their
why do
own.
we need pandas? Why do we need pandas?
What the fuck? What kind of world would it be without a panda, bro? Like I
I
would
mean, we don't
die
have
if I
white
didn't have a
rhinos.
panda.
We lost white rhinos. There are so many animals that are
Are going
completely
extinct.
this species exactly.
That's
And
why we
they're
need these
we're keeping
places.
pandas alive for what reason? We're wasting our resources keeping them around. If they can't survive this environment, just let them go. Just let them go. It's okay. We need to rebuild so that their natural ecosystems support
I
them,
don't
not
know,
us.
but have you not? And you know what? Like, this is also starting to happen in gorillas as well. And I don't support zoos, but they do have sanctuaries where they take in these kind of animals, especially with the wildfires
Yeah.
that happen in Australia.
Sanctuaries are fine.
And yeah, and like these koala bears are happy as shit that they're having babies.
Yeah, I
Like,
have no
so
problem
you
with
had to
wild
assist them on
animals.
getting pregnant. It's at the end of the
No, they
day.
shouldn't assist. They shouldn't
Wait,
assist
they didn't
on
force them to
mating.
do it. Yeah, they didn't force them to mate. They just assisted it, like with artificial insemination, which I kind of don't support, but kind of
Exactly. I'm saying like even that is
when the species
unnecessary. If
depends
they're
on it.
going out, they're going out. Just let them go out. Let nature grow and decrease as it will. We are the bigger problem right now. The reason why all these animals are going extinct is because we have animal agriculture. We're knocking down forests to make room to grow food for the animals. So
100%.
if we stop doing that, we could literally re-wild 75% of our current agricultural land. That's equivalent to the whole North America and South America combined. That much land. If we stopped using animals, that's just the environmental part of it, though. Like,
No,
even
you
if
don't. I don't.
it,
You're not understanding, bro. If we didn't, like, for example, it's like you saying to an African person, you can't eat monkeys anymore. You know what
I
I
would
mean?
never.
They
Well,
would be overpopulated with
eating
monkeys.
monkeys is dangerous, but I understand
No,
your point. I
they
understand your
would be
point.
over.
I
I've
understand your
already
point.
seen the way that they are in
Look,
India right now. Those
most
monkeys are
most
in
I need you to understand.
swarms.
I need you to understand. Most poor nations are focused on growing grains for the animals that we use in the West. So the cash crops are the ones that are like corn, soy, wheat that are being fed to animals. So those countries are not focusing on growing human-based crops that are local and native to their areas. They're focused on feeding animals. So the only reason why a lot of these communities are so focused on still consuming animals is because they're not growing the vegetables. But honestly, they could grow so many more vegetables if we stop incentivizing growing crops for animals, which is why I said 75% of our ag land is dedicated to growing the animals and their food. They eat a lot. A cow eats more than a person. We raise 92.2 billion. There's only 8 billion humans. We raise 92.2 billion animals every year to be slaughtered. They take tons of food, tons of water. And if you go into a backyard scenario, they take more water. They take more time to grow. They release more greenhouse gases. So using animals is just, it's not efficient in any way. And again, this is all environmental. It has nothing to do with veganism or about the animals themselves. They themselves don't want to be used. Even if it was better for the environment, I would still advocate for veganism and for people to not use animals because it's just like human slavery. There's an individual that has their own purpose, and wants to be free, doesn't want to be used, especially if we don't need to. It's wrong. Sorry.
Okay, so like I don't even know where to start with that because you
Take your
could
time. I did talk a lot.
if you live in an apartment, you can literally grow your own vegetables. You could get the seeds from the vegetables that you're already eating and regrow them and have a strawberry tree. You could have a strawberry bush. You could have a
But
lemon
what does
tree.
this help?
Because you're talking about like land and you're talking about like
Right.
growing stuff
So
on
that's why
land.
I
You can
said that's
grow
why I
that
said
stuff in an apartment.
let's steelman the argument that using animals was better for the environment. Right? I'm going to steelman you, which means I'm enforcing the argument that we should use animals, right? Because they're better for the environment. I'm saying that even if it was beneficial for the environment to use animals, that animal is a sentient being much like a human. And just like a human, they avoid harm. They don't want to be uncomfortable and used, just like us. So
Okay,
I
but
would still advocate for
unfortunately,
their rights.
okay, but that's like getting mad at the tiger for unaliving a zebra.
You're not a tiger. You're a
No,
human. I can
but
talk to you.
bro,
We can
we're at the top
reason.
of the food chain. But we're at the top of the
Okay.
food chain.
Do you know what moral agents are?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to explain it in case there's anyone in the audience that doesn't. A moral
Okay.
agent is someone who understands morality. It's like we have complexes and we can weigh out what's right and wrong. There's
Okay.
also something called a moral patient, like children. They may have some idea of what morality is, but they don't fully understand it. And children do things that are immoral sometimes, but they just don't fully understand morality, right? They're just kids bumping into boundaries in a way. We don't hold them to the same standard as like a fully cognizant human, right?
Mm,
Like an
okay.
adult human.
Hmm.
So I'm saying that animals are the same. Some of them actually do show that they have their own morality. When they're taken out of fight or flight mode, they do show compassion and morality towards others. But when they're out surviving harsh environments, they're just doing what they need to survive. They don't have the capacity or the time to weigh out what's right and wrong, right? They're just doing whatever they were taught to survive. So we can't really compare ourselves as moral agents to moral patients who don't understand what morality is.
You kind of can though because it's instinctual.
No,
So
no,
it's
no.
instinctual for the
You're
tiger
saying it's
to
instinctual for us to be a
unalive.
predator? So why can't I do that to
100%.
children? Why can't I do that to children then?
Whoa, what?
Why
No,
can't I
you
be a
can't
predator
hold
to
children
children?
at we just don't even mention children because they honestly are not in the same brain capacity as we are. So it's kind of irrelevant.
Exactly.
It's irrelevant. I know,
That's
but
the
it's irrelevant.
point. That's the point.
Well,
They're
they
just like the animals. They're just like the animals. They may have some idea of what morality is, but
okay,
they don't
but there's
fully
like an
understand it.
adult.
Hold on, listen. So
Okay, listen.
for me, right, as an adult who knows right and wrong, it would be immoral for me to take advantage of someone who is vulnerable to me, who may not understand what's right and wrong. Because I do understand what's right and wrong. I have a responsibility to act on that, right? To do what's right, not what's wrong, despite whatever it is that I want to do. There's someone in that child having a subjective experience with the capacity to suffer. And for me
Um,
to rob them of their freedom is wrong. To violate them is wrong. Does that make sense?
no, but it's like you're trying to tell the tiger not to be a tiger. You know what I
You're
mean?
not a tiger. I'm
Okay,
talking. If
but
I could talk to a
we
tiger, listen, Pink, if I could talk to a tiger and I could give them a practical alternative, I 100% would.
okay, but we're the
That's why I'm
tigers in
talking to
this
you.
scenario. We're
If
the
you,
tigers in this
exactly, I'm
scenario.
talking to you,
The
Pink, Pink
animals
the
are the
tiger,
zebras, bro.
Pink the tiger. You can eat alternatives. Humans thrive using plants. We can thrive. I have right here, nutritionfacts.org. You can look at all the studies. They make videos breaking down studies. They leave all their resources. They also have what's called the Dailey Dozen, which is a really easy just checklist of 12 things to make sure you get in a day to make sure you get all your needed nutrition. It's really that easy. You can get everything.
Okay.
Simple.
I'm okay. So that's just it's a natural way of things. You know what? It's just a natural way of things. We
Oh
may
no,
have
it's not
gone
natural.
overboard. Have
Isn't
built
eating plants natural?
it is, and we do.
Okay. So I'm just saying we can look at, even though what we've done in the past to animals has gotten us to where we are, we can recognize that we don't need to do it anymore. They don't want to be used and they can suffer. They don't want to suffer. So why not make the change to not harm them and just move on to living without demanding their oppression? Wouldn't that be preferable if we could live without oppressing someone?
Um. Okay. So also, I find this like I understand there's other animals out there that are also suffering, but you use like farm animals like cattle and livestock, like you use that
Oh,
as an
it's not
example.
suffering. It's exploitation I'm
But
focused on.
okay, you should really be focusing on them eating cats and dogs over there in like Asia. You know what I mean? Because
Why?
that to us seems inhumane, is because they're not doing it the right way. You know what I mean? They're not doing it the right way.
What's the right way? What's the right way?
I don't know. I feel like there's a right way and a wrong way to butcher an animal, and they're not doing it the right
Tell
way.
me the right way. I can
Quick
tell you
death,
what all
mass death,
animals go
instant
through.
death, like something that's instant. You know what I mean? It's an
It's
instant
never
death. It's over
instant.
with. It's done with.
It's
It
never
is instant
instant.
though. It is though.
You just told me you don't even know what they do.
Oh, on the farms,
So
I
how do you
do.
know it's instant? So then
Um,
tell me, how do they do it?
They stab him in the heart. Actually, that's an instant death.
That is not an instant death. And I
Uh,
think you need to go watch Dominion because that's not the process.
well, in the farms that I was at, that's what they did. I mean, I think
What did they farm? Who were they farming?
cattle, sheep, pigs, chicken.
Okay, they don't stab them in the heart. What they do is they either they bolt gun them in the head, or they just straight up slit their throat.
Well, those are the inhumane ways for sure.
That's the
Shooting.
standard practice, and it's considered the most humane way.
Shooting is kind of an instant death, but it messes up with the meat, so a lot of people don't like to do that.
It's not a gun.
And
It's not a gun. It's a bolt gun. So either this bolt comes out and hits in their brain, or it's
yeah, it's
just air
instant brain
that
death.
pops them. It's not instant death. They're still
It
alive.
is an
They need
instant death. No, it's an
Pink. I
instant
need you to
flatline.
listen.
Okay.
Stop.
Yes,
You
sir.
talk like you know what you're talking about, but you really don't.
We're up on a
You
farm
need
now,
to
okay.
watch Dominion and see what they're doing. The animals absolutely wake up from being stunned, not instant unalived. They're stunned. That's to stun them. They need the heart pumping to get the blood out because the blood harbors pathogens and can make you sick. So they have to drain the body. That's how it's done. They stun them, they slice them, they hang them by one leg and let them drain. So how is that
Thank God I never witnessed
more
that.
how do but you're so what's funny is that you're saying that other countries are unaliving other animals wrong, yet they're probably doing it the exact same way. They're probably stunning the animal, slicing their throat,
Yeah.
hanging them upside down to drain. You're just doing it to a different animal. You know, cows are considered similar to dogs. They're nicknamed grass puppies. They like to play with balls. They're highly maternal. They love their
Okay,
babies.
maybe don't throw so much emotion into the mix because you're messing. Like, I understand you
That's
would like to
what
have
they
a heart for every
are.
animal
If
on
you
the
feel
planet,
emotion, it's because you're recognizing what I'm talking about. If you care about dogs, did you recognize they have personalities and preferences? They care about their loved ones.
absolutely. I
Understand
don't
that
think they
cows are
should
the
be
same.
eaten. I don't think they should be eaten. They should, they
Neither
should be
should
able to live
cows.
free. I understand that, but the
So why do
reality
you
is that
demand their
whatever.
bodies?
Well, maybe you should be. Have you signed the animal food? Have you signed the
It
petitions to shut
doesn't
down those
matter what
animal
I
food
do. I'm
markets?
talking about your
Yeah, it does because you're
choices.
trying to make a difference. So if you're making a difference, at
Pink,
least sign those
why do
petitions to
my
shut down
choices
those animal
affect
food
you?
markets.
Why do my choices affect your choices? That seems kind of funny. Why do I have to do everything first before you do it? Why
I
don't you
already
just
did do it, so
why
I just want to know
then why
who's on
aren't
a
you
more who's
vegan?
on a.
Why aren't you
Okay,
vegan yet?
I'm not a vegan. I will never be a vegan. Just
Why?
because I grew up
What
with
is
meat in
veganism?
my life.
What
Um,
does veganism mean?
well, it's just like eating plants, and yeah, I wouldn't eat it. I don't know. I do eat plants.
Veganism
I grow my own
veganism
food.
is a veganism is a principled stance against the exploitation of sentient beings, individuals that have emotion and can feel. Veganism is against exploiting and oppressing them. That's why we eat a plant-based diet. We don't want to demand animals be born into existence just to be bolted, sliced, and hung for us. That's what veganism is. It's just recognizing someone suffers and I don't want to demand that they suffer for me. Why is that so wrong?
There's nothing wrong there. You want to be vegan,
You
you be
just
vegan.
said
The
I
next
will
person
never be
wants to be.
vegan. So why can't
I
you
will
respect
never be vegan.
animals?
I do respect
Why can't you
animals, though.
respect animals?
I do
How can
respect
you respect
animals.
someone while using them without their consent?
Um, it's just like it's meat, bro. Like we need meat
You see how you can't answer that? That's exactly the
because
problem. You are
I
using
feel like
someone's
I
body
am
for
signing
your
petitions to
pleasure.
shut down the animal food
That's not
markets.
enough. That's
They
not
shouldn't be eating
that.
cats and
Look,
dogs.
if I slap people, let's say I slap women. I'm slapping women all left and right.
Why
Can
do
I
you
then
do?
say that I respect? Just listen for the hypothetical. Stop getting this outrage. If I'm slapping women, can I then and I donate to a women's, you know, I don't know, where they take care of battered women, and I donate so much money to that. Does that now make me slapping women mean that I respect women?
That does not
Like,
justify it. No,
can I say that I respect women?
no,
Exactly. So you're telling me that you donate to animal causes, but you're not. You're like the reason why they're shaking in those cages.
because I already
It
told
doesn't
you that
make
if
up
we
for
didn't
the
eat them, they
immoral
would eat
acts.
us, bro.
They wouldn't though. That's such a silly claim. We
It's not
bred
a
them.
silly claim. It's
It's so
facts, though.
silly.
They eat
It's
our
so
resources
silly.
as well,
They're
and you know what?
herbivores, hun. No, they're herbivores, and we have bred them into existence. You're
But
going
they
all the way
eat.
back to the beginning here. I
Okay,
really don't
so
want to
if
go through our
you
whole
let, okay,
conversation
you're
again.
talking how many animals? You said 99 billion animals. If we
92.
let them all loose to go into the wild, okay, to
No,
eat
no,
whatever
you don't
they want
understand.
every day,
The
and
animals are
what I'm
no, no, no.
saying
You
is
need
they're
no, no,
gonna
no,
be
no, no. I
eating
need you to
our.
stop. I need you to stop. I need you to stop. You're making a fake problem. There's only, I think, like 60 billion animals alive at one time. We're unaliving them in cycles throughout the year, and if we could honestly just keep them alive and no longer breed them anymore. We don't need to breed more. If you stop going into the store and picking up those packages, they won't breed any more of those individuals into existence. You have a lot of power. You going into that store, the price, I like how you made it, make more so that another individual is forced into existence to go through that system to replace the package that you just purchased. That's the power of supply and demand. If you move your demand over to plant-based products, that next individual isn't demanded to go through that system for you. It's really that simple. They start making more plant-based products. Another point, vegans only make 1 to maybe 3% of the population. They're not even ethical vegans, they just call themselves vegans. Okay? 1 to maybe 3% of the whole world population. Look at all the vegan alternatives that are already there. That's the power of consumers.
Yeah, but they suck.
Well, so demand better. Why don't you demand the better stuff? Say, I want
Why would
better.
I
Tell them,
want a
give them
burger that
feedback.
tastes like meat that isn't meat?
Okay,
That
so
doesn't
again,
make any sense.
okay, I'm going to go to my example here. So now we know that we can get everything from plants. We're talking about taste pleasure. All right, so I have a dog here, and I'm going to kick them for exercise and entertainment.
What is with you kicking and hitting people? Like,
Because I want you to relate. I know that
this
we
is
agree
insane.
that cause. I know, but Pink, listen. I think you understand that I'm trying to find a moral baseline with you and me. Like, where do we agree? And I think we both agree that kicking a dog for exercise and entertainment is immoral. I can kick something else. This dog is going to suffer unnecessarily. That dog won't like that. They prefer to
Your own
avoid
foot
harm.
and kick the freaking wall or something, or maybe hit
Exactly.
your head on the
I
wall
could
or
kick-
something. For sure, you could
I
injure
can-
yourself before
yeah.
injuring an animal. For sure.
Right, I can go kick anything else. Anything else. Why am I subjecting this dog to that? Right? Is my entertainment worth more than this dog's subjective experience of suffering?
I don't know. This seems like a personal issue because
Right,
I don't
it's
see
not. You
at
agree
all
with me
doing that.
then. I like that you want to
Unless you're
insult me.
talking
That's
about
great.
the Asians, bro. Unless you're talking about Asians,
I am not.
because I feel
No.
like they torture.
There are other
things
cultures.
for
I need you to stop
entertainment.
focusing on Asian people. There are other cultures that eat dogs and cats. Like there's people in Norway. It's even legal in the UK. So stop picking on one culture. You also do the same thing to animals. It's hypocritical for you to look at other cultures and say, I don't like that you do it to that animal, but I'm going to do the same thing to an animal with a similar cognition. Okay? Stop focusing on that.
Okay, I have never personally unalived an animal in my entire life, so I am
And why
not on
not?
the same level as them because I would never do that. That's my
As
personal.
them? Are you saying all Chinese people? Like, dude,
I don't
careful.
know, but I'm sorry if you're walking around and you see that shit going on and you don't do anything about it.
I'm sorry. I can't handle if someone's gonna be like that. That's not okay. I already told you, there are other cultures that do that, okay? It doesn't matter what your race is, what your culture is. Doesn't matter, okay? No one should be unaliving animals. We don't need to do it. If you're in a survival situation, that's understandable. It's still not moral, but of course, defend yourself. Protect yourself. If someone's trying to schmurder you, you schmurder them back. Or at least defend yourself. You don't necessarily need to schmurder them, but defend yourself. You are important. But yeah, you don't... The animals are going to eat us? Stop breeding them into existence. They will not eat us if you don't breed them into existence. I say schmurder because it's TikTok. If I say the other word, it just shuts me down and then I can't have fun anymore. What did I say? Work for one. Oh, I must have lost context. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, guys, I'm already so tired. I hate yelling. I'd rather just have a decent conversation with someone. Oh my gosh, this list is long. Okay, I'm just gonna grab one. Adam,
Good
are you over
morning.
18?
Sorry.
Good morning. Good
No,
morning.
I am. I'm 43. How are you?
Right on.
And I just want to.
I'm
I just
okay.
want to preface with I love vegan. I think it's a great. I'm an omnivore, and I've cut down my meat in the last 20 years. Lots. I'm empathetic to the whole cause, but I have two questions that go to the heart of the issue. I'm not a troll, but
Okay, good.
these two things need to be addressed.
Excuse me.
Okay. Do you understand the vitamin B12?
Do I understand it?
Yeah. And where it
I
comes
mean,
from.
yeah, the bacteria.
Yeah, B12.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a thing. And I'm not trying to gotcha here. I'm not trying to anything. Basically, where I'm going is that we should all be more vegan, but we can never be 100% vegan
Oh,
because
I get mine from an algae supplement, but you can also
exactly.
just you can eat duckweed. You could eat
Yeah,
mushrooms and tofu. You can eat fortified foods.
yeah.
Yeah.
B12 is basically the amount we need. It's in animal products. Okay.
Do you know
And
why it's in animal products?
no, inform me.
Because usually the animals are supplemented.
Yeah, true,
So they're
true.
so either you take the supplement or the animal takes the supplement.
Yeah, but what
So you're filtering your vitamins through someone else's body.
with 8 billion people on Earth, and with it expected to be 12 billion people on Earth within the next 100 years.
We should all go
Like,
vegan.
yeah, we should all go vegan. I agree with that. But we will always need, we can go 99% vegan, but I don't think we can go 100% vegan
Why?
because we need B12 as a species.
I just
And
told you the animals are supplemented. They don't have B12 just naturally in their bodies. They need to either eat cobalt or they need to eat dirty soil. Like it's
that
in the
that's
soil
that's
or it's
that's
inside the
only
lining of their gut. They have a bacteria. That's what it is. It's literally just a bacteria that produces B12. They ferment that now. They
yeah,
don't
no,
need
I
the
understand that.
animals.
I understand that.
So why
But I'm
can't we be
talking
100% vegan if we're just fermenting the B12? We don't need animals to ferment the B12 for us.
because there's a correlation between whether animals and mushrooms and plants can correlate enough B12 to supply 8 billion to 12 billion people on the planet as a
I don't know.
supplement.
Okay. Okay. I need you to understand there's a study out there that already looked that we could feed 10 billion people if we got rid of animal agriculture. There's 8
Mhm.
billion people right now, and some of us are starving.
No, I understand that. There's many people starving.
Okay.
And
So
to be
we're
honest, we could
currently,
solve world hunger with basically the Scrooge McDuck money bins we have in the 1% that have billionaires like in their backyards. We could solve world hunger
I'm not
instantly.
against I'm not against eliminating billionaires. I'm totally for that. But what I'm
No,
focused
I
on
understand.
today is animals and their rights.
Mm.
So my
No,
point is
I
that
was very empathetic to animals' rights, and I hate the suffering and all the rest of it. But I'm just saying, I'm more talking from a scientific viewpoint, and I'm not against
yeah,
you.
I
I
don't think you
appreciate all
are
that.
though. I don't think you are. You should go check out nutritionfacts.org. They actually
Yeah,
have studies about B12 supplementation that it's totally fine, absolutely
hmm
healthy and vegan.
yeah.
Okay. So I
But
don't understand then what's your point?
from what
Why aren't you
I've
vegan
read,
yet?
there's just not enough without cattle
What do you mean
production.
not enough?
There's 8 billion to 12 billion in the next 100 years,
I don't think
and
you're listening to me. I don't think you heard me at all. What did I
what I'm
tell
saying
you?
is
What did I
farming
tell
of
you, Adam? Adam, what did I tell
farming
you?
of
What
animal
did I,
products.
Adam, hello?
Yeah,
Hello? Hello, Adam, are you there?
I am.
Okay.
I really
What
am.
did I tell you? What did I tell you? What did I talk about? How much farmland is dedicated to animal agriculture right now? How much of
I
our
know.
agricultural land?
That's not my point.
75 or
That's excessive.
83%.
It's
83%
excessive.
of our current agricultural land dedicated to raising animals and their food. If we eliminated that, we could feed 10 billion people.
I agree with you, but what I'm
I
saying
don't
is,
think you're listening though. You
I
keep
agree
going
with you.
back to feeding. No, 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 no. You keep going back to B12 and that it needs to ferment in animals. But that's not true. That's not
It
true.
really
Okay, if you
does.
can't, are you going to let go of it? Nope. Okay. Well, then you have a great day. You're not understanding facts. Like, does everyone come up here with cotton in their ears? Hello? Oh my gosh. You guys, what is up? He keeps just saying the same thing, the B12 thing. I'm just like, I just told you it's inefficient with animals. We can ferment it in vats easily, or you can just eat duckweed. Like, Ah! No, 8 billion people, cows. I just told you we could feed 10 billion people a fully nutritious diet, including B12. Oh my God, these people. What is up? Oh my God. Lucifero? The Lucifero?
Yeah.
Are you over 18?
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you morally justify your animal use?
I have a question for you actually. Do you have any objective
Well,
argument?
I would like you to answer my question first, and then I'll answer your question, please.
Yeah, it has ingredients that you can't get from any plant sources.
Say that again?
It has ingredients you can't get from any plant sources.
Oh, like what?
Carnosine, taurine, creatine.
You don't. All essential amino acids you can find in plant-based foods.
No, you
Okay,
can't
Lori.
find those.
Okay, well then you can go to nutritionfacts.org. I'm not going to argue with you about facts. You can get
Okay.
everything you need on a plant-based diet. They have what's called the Vegan Daily Dozen. It's just an easy checklist to make sure you get everything you need in a day.
Can you answer my question?
I guess, but I'm probably going to boot you after this just because it sounds like you're not really prepared for this. Go ahead.
Do you have any objective arguments at all?
About you using animals?
No, about veganism.
Objective?
Yeah, objective.
Oh, no, I do think that morality is subjective. I just think that you and I share principles. I'm sure that you agree that other people should respect your autonomy, right? They shouldn't have to have a deep conversation about what you think is moral and whatever. They should just respect that you exist, right?
Can you
They
summarize
should
them?
respect. I just summarized for you. I just said you want your autonomy respected, correct?
Sure, if I know the definition of autonomy, I'm not fluent.
Do you want someone to respect the fact that you can suffer? Or should I
Yeah.
just cause you harm and not care?
I
Right,
mean,
I
it's
should care.
your decision if you want to do that.
But what would you prefer?
Yeah, I would probably prefer to not be hurt.
Right. And should I have a conversation with you about your preferences, or should I just respect you?
You don't have to respect me since I'm a stranger.
Okay, again, would you rather that I care about your ability to suffer, or should I just do what I want to you?
You do what you want. It's your body. It's your choice.
So your preference is that I would do whatever I want to you despite your consent. That's your preference.
People have their own choices, yeah.
I'm asking you, what are your preferences? Can you please stop trying to wiggle out of the question?
I'm not.
You already answered it one time. Why can't you say it again? Do you want me to respect that you want to be left alone, or should I just do what I want to you? What would you prefer?
You can do what you want.
Oh, well, you have a great day. Apparently you have bricks for brains. Good God, guys.
I
I'm
just
just-
got into that conversation, so I didn't know what was really going on, but I could tell towards the end.
Yeah. I just don't like when people they're just trying to win, and it's like, can you, like, listen?
Yeah.
Like, it's fine that you want to rebuttal, but, like, listen and, like, respond instead of just pivoting.
Yeah.
It's
not
cowardly.
like yeah. It's not a win who wins the situation. It's what's important in educating yourself and, what's important for your body and everything else that goes along with it. Earth, water, everything, the animals.
Yeah.
They kind of, it was kind of fun last night with, I was with the universe, and that was just crazy, some of the people on there. But,
Say it again?
I was
I don't
on
know
with
if I
the
understood
universe last night, and he does a vegan live too. Universe, yeah.
I don't know if
I
I'm
was
following
with
them.
him and Keith. Yeah, Keith.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Did you guys have a lot of good outreach?
a couple, but then there were people like the guy that you just out up. It was just kind of crazy. You know?
Totally. They're out there.
Yeah.
It's just TikTok the way
Yeah.
it is.
Right.
But it does take a certain personality to be willing to come up and talk to someone, especially if like me, I kind of come across as angry. So it
Yeah.
makes sense that I'm going to attract the bold
Oh,
trolls.
yeah. Well, he had them too, but it's just the
Yeah,
fact that people are afraid of change. That's really all it
totally.
is. So,
Yes,
how's your day
that really
going
is what it
by?
is.
By the way, anyway, is it going okay? Sorry about my
Yeah, it's.
throat.
I keep doing the same thing. I have water. I keep having to clear my throat.
Yeah, I think it's
Thank you,
allergies.
Sierra.
Yeah, how long have you been up so far? Are you
Oh,
getting ready to bail or?
no, I've been up for an hour and like 15 minutes, so I'll probably be
Okay.
up for another hour and
Okay.
45. Yeah.
Hopefully, maybe I'll get some people in here.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Do you
What
want to?
do you want to come up or something or?
Oh, no, I think she's just in the audience. I don't. Sometimes
Okay.
she's at work, so I don't know if she can
Oh, right, right,
come
right.
up.
Well, you got quite a few if they're still all in here, but no,
I know.
I can bring somebody up. Sure.
Yeah, please do. Please do.
Okay. There you go. Hey,
Hey,
Trudy, how
Great.
old are you for TikTok
Uh,
purposes?
Lori,
Yes.
did you just say that it's because people are afraid of change?
Yeah, most people are afraid of change. But can I ask you your age first for TikTok purposes?
I'm 18.
Okay, great. Go ahead, host.
all right, Tree. So how do you morally justify your animal use? Also, thank you, Lori.
So, uh, there's many different ways that people would justify it.
Oh,
Me
not people.
personally,
You. Yeah.
yeah, me personally, they'd die anyways.
So
I
our
mean, out in
humans
the
want to eat
wild, cows
babies.
tend to die 25% faster than on legalized farms and
This doesn't justify anything.
ranches.
You're gonna unalive. That doesn't mean that I have the right to do what I want to you.
I'd get cremated. That's how I'd
Okay.
die.
All right, but
I'd be getting
again,
cooked
that doesn't.
anyways.
Again, if I don't have rights to do what I want to you right now, even though at some point you're gonna unalive from some other cause, that doesn't give me
Yeah,
rights right now to do what I want to you. Okay, so that
yeah.
doesn't morally justify using animals. What morally justifies using a feeling emotional being for taste, pleasure, clothing, entertainment, whatever? What justifies using them without their consent?
Honestly, I just don't feel bad. I don't know why, don't know how. I
Well,
just
I
don't.
mean, maybe you just haven't thought about it before.
I have. I
Yeah,
know
what made
Have
animals
you
have
seen?
feelings.
Go ahead, Lori. Sorry.
I was just going to ask you what made you decide to come into a vegan life. Are you curious to understand it? Do you know what veganism is? Do you know what plant-based diet is?
I know what veganism is.
Why don't you give me the definition?
I don't know the exact definition, but I know what it is. It's living a plant-based life, food. Uh, Now, I only have one question.
Well, wait.
Veganism
I just
is.
before you move on, I need you to understand that that's not what veganism is. Veganism is a principled stance against the exploitation of sentient beings. That's why we eat a plant-based diet. It's not because we want to eat a plant-based diet. It's because we don't want to demand a sentient being be oppressed and exploited for our benefit, especially for something that we don't need.
Well, hold up. That kind of contradicts other vegans. There are
I
some
don't care what
vegans I
other
know
vegans
who
say.
can't.
That is what the definition is. It is against the exploitation of sentient beings.
Yeah, or using them in any way, fashion, you know, uh,
Entertainment.
makeup, entertainment, cleaning products.
Yeah. Just like if it were humans, right? If I'm an abolitionist that's against human slavery, I'm going to avoid supporting slavery as much as I possibly can. As a vegan, I'm doing the same thing. I don't want to support animal exploitation or oppression, so I purposely avoid anything that demands their exploitation because I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to demand that. The idea of someone shaking in a cage because I put them there, that's terrible. Does that make sense?
Kinda.
So, do you understand that animals are sentient beings?
I've always understood that.
Okay, so, and I'm just going to explain, just in case anybody in the audience doesn't. Sentience means a subject having an experience and weighing it out on whether they prefer it or not. Usually they prefer to avoid harm and they prefer to stay comfortable. And they have a personal interest in continuing to have further experiences. Would you agree that humans are sentient?
Yes, humans are sentient.
Right. Would you agree with me that that's all we care about in other humans is that they're sentient? We don't care about their intelligence, what they provide for society, who loves them. It's just that they themselves are sentient, having a subjective experience. So if there was like a homeless person that had the capacity of a cow, would you still think that person has moral worth? Or should we just exploit that person for our benefit because their experience doesn't matter?
I mean, that's already what life does. We exploit people.
I'm asking you, though. What's your moral value? What do you think about that? Do you believe that humans have human rights?
Yeah.
Okay, so you would say then that person with the cognition of a cow still has moral worth, right?
Yeah.
Right, because they're sentient. They're still having an experience. What happens to that individual matters to them, even if it's not the same as yours. They still care what happens to them, just like you care what happens to you.
Yeah.
So shouldn't we respect other humans because they're sentient, because they're just having their own subjective experience?
Well, then...
We are... Go ahead.
That would... The moral sentience, or the sentient being what makes us want to be more kinder, all that to them.
You're talking about sapience. So I'm not talking about sapience. I'm talking about sentience. Sapience is thinking about thoughts, knowledge, intelligence. But
Yes.
sentience.
Having the ability to choose wanting one over the other.
Okay. Right, okay. So you know the difference between sapience and sentience,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yes.
So I'm talking about sentience, which is binary. You either are experiencing life or you aren't. Everything else is intelligence, right? So I'm talking about a human being that is not sapient, but is sentient. That means that they can still enjoy things. They can still look forward to things. They still care what happens to them. Wouldn't you agree it'd be immoral to violate those rights? Their rights, those person. What if you were in their position? Let's say that you got bonked on the head. I hope it never happens to you. I hope it never happens to anybody. But let's say you get bonked on the head and you lose your sapience, but you're still sentient. Again, you can look forward to things. You can still enjoy things, playing with balls, being around certain individuals. Would you think it's okay for someone to violate you? Just because you got bonked on the head?
No.
Right. So shouldn't we give that same respect to other beings in that situation?
By that logic, plants would also be...
They're not
considered
sentient.
morally. Actually, fun fact, scientific provings have shown that
No,
plants
they are
do
not
actually
tree.
make choices.
They are not. They are not. Two things. First off, you can go look up the study called Debunking a Myth Plant Consciousness. It goes over the last 50 years of studies and shows that all the studies that claim that plants might have some kind of sentience have not been reliably repeated. All the ones that claim that these are all just mechanisms that respond to stimuli have been repeated reliably. Okay,
That's
second
what.
thing. I would steel man you. Let's say that plants are sentient. Does that mean, and I want to make sure I get this out of you, does that mean you think we should take plants, we should take them, consider them morally? God, I can't find my words today. Should we consider plants morally? Should we consider their preferences since they are sentient, in your opinion? Right, so you don't actually care about plant sentience.
No.
Okay. What about animal sentience? Do you care if I kick a dog?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so you can tell the difference. What I'm talking about is that you're
But here's the
causing real
difference
harm.
I'm
No,
actually
Tree.
caring about.
No, I need you to listen. You are right now stating that you do recognize that plants are not sentient and animals are, but you are demanding a sentient being be harmed, have their freedom robbed for you. So how do you morally justify that? You can unmute. It's right there.
I morally justify animal killings and all that by, or
Don't say
not animal killings in
K
total.
word. Don't say the K word. Say
Yeah, say
unalive.
unalive.
Animal
Thank you, Lori.
unalive. I morally justify it because we use what they leave.
No. That's not morally justified. I mean, Jeffrey Dahmer used everything as well. Does that make what he did moral?
That's crazy.
Right. That's what you're doing to animals, though. You can't tell me the moral difference, right? Like, what is the morally relevant difference between us and animals?
Between us and animals?
Yeah. What morally makes it okay for us to dominate and harm animals, but not okay for us to dominate and harm other humans? Morally speaking, of course.
Probably because most humans see other people as their. So.
They're in group.
Yeah. Like, all humans consider each other in some part or some deep connection as family.
Right, we can see ourselves in each other. We can imagine potentially being in someone else's shoes. We can empathize with each other.
Yeah.
Right? Right. So usually what it is that we're empathizing with, though, is having a subjective experience and the capacity to suffer. So I'm telling you the animals are no different. They're just a different shaped body. They have a different priority, and you can make what do you think you can do to not demand that they go through that system? You have a lot of power.
What are you asking me?
What do you think you can do to not demand that these sentient beings be forced through the agricultural system? To not be used for you. What can you do?
You know, I honestly don't know.
You can live vegan.
I mean,
you
I
live
probably
vegan-
still won't, but I
So
can at least see your
if
guys'
you were
side of
if
the
you
thing
were
now.
if you were the victim, let's say you were the one that was about to have your life taken, or your body was about to be violated for someone else's benefit, would you want your oppressors to stop because they know they can get whatever they need from some other source? Or would you just accept that because they're dominant, therefore it's okay? How quickly would you want your oppressors to stop, or would you want them to stop?
I'd probably try to make them stop.
Yeah, so immediately, right? If
You
they
know,
knew they could get everything they needed from something else, why are they putting you through that?
probably
That's
because
all vegan.
it'd be easier.
But is that fair to you? To
Nah.
use you because it's convenient?
Nah.
I agree. It took you a minute. I hope you care about yourself more than that. Like you should absolutely say no, they don't have rights over my autonomy because that's your body. No one should ever have rights over your body unless you give them consent. You matter. So, don't sell yourself short. You have a lot of power and you're worth a lot. So, definitely defend yourself, but also recognize that other individuals who can't defend themselves still deserve respect to not be violated or exploited. Will you at least maybe consider watching the documentary Dominion just to see what those labels are that you demand? Like when you see cage free, grass fed, humane raised, whatever, they go over all those labels just so you know what those labels allow. What is standard?
Okay.
Awesome. If you check that out, I'd love to hear from you. You can send me a private message or just catch me on a live or whatever. I'd just love to hear if that changed your mind at all.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you being open to the resources, Tree. Oh, Lori, did you want to add something?
I was just gonna say you might want to watch Scary is Scary too. It's like about a 5 minute documentary. The other one's about 2 hours, but you may want to have to take a little bit in at a time because it is standard practice for everything, and there's like no such thing as free range or cage free. It's just a word that the industry uses to make you feel better for buying the product.
Well, cage free is a thing. I own chickens,
Yeah.
and
So
we have
it's
a
just
run and all that. But if
Not
they were
so
not
cage
in
free in the way
the
Lori's describing,
not in the industry. I'm talking about these huge conglomerates that you purchase animal products from. They try to say, oh, it's cage free, grass fed, all that, and it's not true.
They
I
also
mean,
go
yeah,
over backyard. They go over backyard chickens. I know that seems a little more inconspicuous. You don't really see the cruelty, but first of all, there's only females, and the way evolution works, for every female,
I've
there's
owned
going to be
males.
typically a male. Right, but for every female, there's supposed to be a male, evolutionarily speaking. That's just how it works. We haven't gotten around that. So you're going to mostly have females. Where are the other males? So at hatcheries where you buy your chicks, male chicks are ground up alive on their first day of life. They can't sex the chicks until they're born, and then they're on a big conveyor belt that they throw the females down one chute and the males down another chute. The males go on another conveyor belt into what's called a macerator, which is considered the most humane way to unalive them. First day of life, fully conscious, going into a macerator. So every time you buy chicks to have your own chickens, that's what you're supporting. And if you're buying them from another farmer, again, where are the males? A lot of smaller farms just tie them off in bags. They drown them. They crush them because they're a waste. They eat resources and they don't gain the same muscly, things that like meat chickens do. So that's backyard eggs, large corporation eggs. Someone is being exploited. But that'll also be covered in Dominion. Like I said, it goes over all of those names just so that you know what is allowed under those labels.
yeah.
And like I said, you can come back to me too. Go ahead, Lori. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, give it a chance. Don't be afraid of change. You know, it might open your eyes to a lot of things that you're being lied to about.
I mean, it's just worth looking at in general. You shouldn't be blind to what you're purchasing. You should know what it is. When you see a label and you pick that package up and buy it, that's your demand. You're literally saying, I like it, I want more. That's what the signal is. When you pick up a package, that's what the trigger tells them. I like it, I want more, I like the price, do it again. So then they put another animal through that system for you. That is the power of supply and demand. One person going vegan can save 100 to 300 animals a year. Can you imagine looking behind you and there's 100 animals? It's a lot of individuals that care about what happened to them. Each one of them no longer shaking in a cage because of you. You know, they just won't be born into existence. There's no suffering in non-existence. I don't know what that sound is, but it's disturbing.
It's my dog.
Okay.
You want to hear him? Hey,
I mean, oh.
Does all that answer your questions, at least to start off, Tree?
that was his tail on the wall. He's a big old dog.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm off. Bye all.
Okay. Well,
Nice hearing your side of things.
consider the other
I'll consider
animals
watching
like.
Dominion.
Thank you, and then reach out to me. But think about your dog. When you look at those other animals that are in the packages, would you eat your dog if your dog was in that package? Just hold that in your mind.
Yeah, because they're no different.
They're no different. All right, Tree. I hope I hear from you soon.
There is a small difference. I'm
There is no
morally
difference.
attached to my dog. I've known him a long time.
You can
I've
become
named
morally. You can become attached to a cow. You just haven't given them
Yeah.
the same time. In fact, Lori has a great experience with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a baby male cow that grew up on my grandparents' farm, and he became very attached to me. Would follow me around. I'd play ball with him. You know, of course, he couldn't pick it up like a dog, but he'd roll it with his nose right back to me, and I'd kick it to him. So, you know, they're both the same. They just look different, and we've put them on a lower scale than dogs and cats. Like there's a you know, there's a scale of how animals, domesticated animals, are listed, and unfortunately, you know, dog and cats are at the top of the line. You know, it goes down to like birds and, you know, other animals as to, you know, what they are recognized as. You know, so just think about that. I mean, I used to have a pet chicken too that did the same thing. You know, that I actually hatched back when I was in elementary school, and they allowed us to do that. So just
Oh,
food
Tree,
for thought.
you're muted. Let's see if
Yeah,
maybe
just food
he's
for
in.
thought.
Yeah, we just want you to bear that
Pressing
in
the button,
mind.
It was not wanting to unmute.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, good
I
to
was so
know.
confused about that.
Yeah, it shouldn't be
But
doing it. TikTok likes to have errors.
yeah.
Okay,
Not
well,
gonna
I
lie,
appreciate.
had a train of thought, and the muted mic button distracted me about that. So
Well, if it comes back to you, you can message me privately too. I'll continue having the conversation if you like. I just really urge you to see Dominion, so you at least know what it is in the grocery stores that you're demanding.
okay,
Cool. All right, Tree. Thank you for coming up.
see ya.
See ya. I like people being open to resources. That's good. That's a foot in the door.
Exactly. Okay, you
That's
got
all
like
it's-
six
Oh yeah,
people.
throw them at me. Throw them at me. Throw them
Okay,
at me.
very good.
Thank you, Lori.
Most I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's a lot. I was screaming earlier.
Yeah.
Rose?
Guess so. How old
Rose
are you,
are-
Rose?
Yeah. I'll mute.
Yes,
You go ahead,
I'm
Lori.
over 18.
Okay. So how do you morally justify your animal use?
So, first thing first, I like eating meat, and there's no need to push people to go vegan. You do you, I do myself. Like, you know what? You know what I'm talking about.
What if,
I respect your doings. I respect
What
what
if
you
I
do.
like to What if I like to abuse dogs?
With dogs, that is different. Dogs are like house
Why?
animals.
Why is that different?
They're like house animals. They are playful, but God made the animals to eat
Cows are
them, not
playful.
to do.
Where does it say in the Bible not to eat dogs?
I didn't mean in that way, but like, why do you vegans push people to go vegan?
I'm not pushing
Because there's a
anybody.
it's because
Yeah,
there's
we
a
don't push.
victim.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're not pushing. I'm trying to have you recognize you have a victim.
Yeah, and you're here on a vegan live, so why are you here? Why?
I'm here to state my thoughts about you vegans.
Okay. I don't think he's
So
very receptive. I don't think he's going to be receptive.
you don't need to accept me, but
He's not going to be receptive, and I don't even know what country he's from.
I mean, wherever he's from is fine. It's just he clearly came up here just to say how much he hates vegans.
Hates us, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully the next person will calm down.
Yeah.
Okay, so Quinn is up next.
Hey, Quinn.
Sorry, I am in the middle of eating, but I have just finished.
Are you over 18?
Oh,
sorry,
of course,
Larry.
I'm well within my second decade on the planet.
Okay. So, how do you morally justify your animal use?
I got a few. The first one, and I'm excited to see what you have to say about this. I'm poor. I can't afford alternatives.
Okay. So vegan diet's actually found to be 30% cheaper. Yes,
Where?
In all Western countries.
In all, including America?
Yeah, I live in America.
That's news to me. That's news to me. My understanding was the meat industry was subsidized such to the fact that cheap deli meats and cheap meats give you more macronutrients per dollar. But if that's a
Okay, well,
misconception, then I'll take it.
even if it were, let's steel man it. Let's say that it were a economical thing.
Yeah, an economic
right?
necessity, I would put it.
What about the beans, the rice, the fruits, the vegetables, the frozen fruits and vegetables, the canned fruits and vegetables? What's wrong with those?
Nothing's wrong with them.
Okay. Well, those are cheaper than the animal products for sure, even while they're subsidized.
But the nutrients, how do I get my essential amino acids? Check out nutritioneffects.org. Daily.
Yeah,
Okay, very good, very good.
The Daily Dozen is just an easy checklist to make sure you get everything. And it's based off a whole food, plant-based diet. And what's great about this website is they have all the studies that they pull up. And they have videos where they break down the studies. Either you can watch the videos or you can just go to the study yourself. Yeah, it's just a really valuable resource.
I am no dietitian, so I'm not going to take superiority here. I'm gonna secede that you're probably right. But I have more justifications.
Yeah. Go for it.
One, and I would like to hear what you have to say about this one. It's a huge part of the culture. A huge part of the culture is the consumption of animal products, from meat to various other things. And my culture is important to me. That's it. Yeah. My culture is important to me. That's it.
That's I'm glad that your culture is important to you. That a lot of people, I feel like, especially in this world right now, it's you got to hold on to everything. But I would ask you though, would culture ever justify to you morally taking a human's life? If someone said it's my culture to take human life, would that be moral? Whether or not you could stop it, whether or not you could stop it is one thing, but what would you think about it? Would you think that's morally correct in your perspective?
If you're thinking about like ought and ought not, then I don't think it's something that ought to happen. But I do admit that it does occur.
Sure. But in your eyes, you don't think that it would be moral if someone was regularly taking human life for their cultural purposes?
I think that the National Football League is ipso facto immoral because it necessitates the destruction of the players' brains through repeated head trauma. So I
Right.
agree with you.
I would
But,
almost argue though they are at least consenting to that though, right? They are
in a
opting
sense,
to
yeah.
be, and I don't want to demean that they shouldn't be having head trauma. So don't misunderstand what I'm saying, but at
Gotcha.
least they're giving their consent. Whereas like with
To have
animals,
agency, but the animals are completely held hostage, right?
right? Yeah, their preferences aren't even considered.
What does it for me is that, and this sounds really callous, but my preferences as a human being trump the preferences of animals. Like,
What about with
mm,
your autonomy? What if another stronger, bigger human being wants to some reason nom on your flesh,
mhm,
right? They can dominate you. Should
mhm.
they, or should they respect your preference to be left alone?
Morally, they should not, but they could, of course.
Of course, but we're talking about our preferences in
Morals.
morality. Right.
Oh, it's
Right.
very
You
good.
would
Yeah, no, they
prefer
ought not.
you'd prefer to be left alone and they go find something else.
Quite.
Okay, so what is it that you think that we need from animals? Well, we already talked about nutrition. So you agreed with
We've
me
already
already.
talked about nutrition.
So if we can agree then that we can get everything from plants, then isn't
Biologically, yes. Like, as a matter of nutrition, absolutely.
yeah.
We
So
can't
since
get the
we
flavor. We can't get the experience. You can't have the
so
experience of
okay,
doing a
does
luau, for example.
does taste pleasure and entertainment outweigh someone's subjective experience and ability to have further experiences?
Someone? No. But I'm not
Okay.
categorizing the
I'll
animals
put it
as a
another way.
one.
I'll put
Yeah.
it another way. I have a dog here, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
kick them for exercise
And
and
I will call you a
entertainment.
dog. I'll call you a dog abuser and a bad person if you do that. Right, right, right. The
Right.
dog is an animal, and so too are livestock animals. So technically, they're the same thing. However, the
Right.
context is different. In some countries, they
A
eat
luau,
dogs.
a luau versus
Yeah,
me kicking the dog. You
right, right,
having a
right.
luau versus a me kicking a
I
dog.
would
What's
say
the
those are
difference? What's the difference?
completely different contexts.
Of course, but what's the difference morally speaking?
Oh, the luau brings people together and is a place where we can
Oh,
celebrate
so it's
our
just about the number
community.
of people. I have
No, no,
my
no. It's
family
it's
actually.
more about
No, no, I
it's not
need.
about the number
Okay,
of
Quinn,
people.
hold on, hold on, hold on,
Sorry.
hold on. Okay, I'm gonna just make it match your scenario. I'm gonna have all my friends and family come over. We do this weekly now, and
Hmm.
it brings us joy and entertainment to come together and kick this dog for exercise
You
and
can
entertainment.
put in bullfighting here, right? Like
I could
the
put in
whole
dog fighting even,
right.
right?
Even though, I can't really say that dog fighting is moral now, can I? Just as bullfighting
Well,
is
it's.
kind of
I
ipso
was gonna
facto
say
immoral.
right, exactly. It's your perspective too. This isn't about. I'm not asking about society and everything else. I'm just asking about your
Right.
moral framework. And I understand it's influenced by society, of course.
It is. It is. It is. I mean, we don't live in a vacuum, right? We didn't fall out of a
Right.
fruit tree. But
No.
ah,
Well, so it sounds
there's
like you are
value.
understanding what I'm
There's
saying.
value that does come from it. Like it is ultimately no two ways about it. We have to abuse the animal to get meat. Like even milk, which sounds so
Yep,
innocuous. We both know
I
what
know.
needs to happen for milk.
It's impressive that you knew that. Most people
Oh,
don't know that dairy. In fact, most people think it's more humane.
I tried to explain this to my wife, and she did not believe me. And then she looked it up, and now she cannot unknow that. And if you're in the audience and you're confused, look up how dairy farms operate. However, I do believe that at some level, the value that humans gain out of it can be more valuable than the life of that animal. What do you think about
Can
that?
I can I do whatever I want to an animal? Like if it gave me so much pleasure to grape an animal,
Mm,
is that moral?
ah, no, it's not moral.
Exactly. Wouldn't you say that removing their head is escalating the violence?
Yeah, that is an escalation of a violence. That is a true fact.
Yeah. That's all that we're trying to point out. And
Mm,
sometimes it can be kind of a rude awakening, but
quite,
when you
quite.
it's like you say, once you know it, you can't unknow it. And then the question comes down to, do you want to
Yeah.
support that? Oh, go ahead, Lori. I saw you pop in.
I was gonna say that's why the industry keeps it secret. If if people really knew what they did, they would go out of business. Basically.
You still there, Quinn? We can't hear you if you are. Oh, darn. Well,
That's,
I hope that was an accidental leave. It was such a good
yeah.
conversation.
It's
Oh
kind of
no.
lagging a
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
bit. It's
They seemed like
lagging.
they were getting it.
Yeah. I hope that they did. If he requests back up, I don't mind him coming back up. But yeah, it sounded like there was a connection. If he's in the audience, watch Dominion. You know, that just shows you what those labels mean. You won't be under the hypnotizing of the, the happy animal paintings. You'll know what those labels stand for. So, Freesia, it's so good to
Yeah.
see you.
It's nice to
Yeah,
see you
hey.
both. How you guys doing?
I'm so honored to have you up here. Both you and Lori. You guys are amazing.
Yeah.
You guys are sweet.
I think this guy's been up here a little bit. I'm not. Oh, sorry. I didn't know I hit the other guy too. Big
That's
Golf,
okay.
can you just mute until we talk to the other guy, please? Big guy or Big Golf?
There you go. Yeah, he did it. And then Leanne Warner. Hey.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, are you over 18?
Yes, I am.
Right on. So how do you morally justify your animal use?
Oh, okay. Well, personally, I have a cattle farm, and we slaughter one of them every year, and that provides enough meat for the entire year
Mm-hmm.
for a family of 4.
What
And
do
saying
these
that,
animals eat?
just regular hay. We have a 93-acre pasture.
Mm-hmm.
They graze off of that all year, and we kill one every year. But we get at least 2 every year from breeding.
Okay, what do you think the
And
cows think of that? Do you think they enjoy losing their life?
well, we give them a good life for while they last, because we usually have each cow. Well, as I said, for a minimum of at least a year, but we let them fully grow.
How old do you think cows get to?
Oh, some cows can grow up to, like, I don't know, 15, 20 years old.
So
Usually between 20 and 25 years old. Can be longer. There was a cow that survived up to 40 years.
I've never heard about that, but that's pretty neat. But I'm just saying that.
Wait, can I just I just want to clarify something just for my own purposes. So you said that you farm cows, right?
Yes, I do.
And you take the life of just one every year. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, but this is a farm.
Yes, it is. It's a family farm.
And the only profit for that farm is the life of one animal a year?
Yeah. We have a hayfield. We mow the hay, give the hay to the cow, let the cow grow. We pick one every year and we kill it. And we get the meat.
So,
And then we
is
transfer
there
the
any
entire-
profit that comes from this?
Well, no, it's not really any profit necessarily. It's a way of feeding a family. Because you can get 500 pounds of meat from a singular cow. It's the easiest way to get food in the entire world.
Okay, I'm very confused right now. So you have a farm that you make no profit off of. You bring cows into existence every year, and you're feeding them every year. And
It's a hobby.
and you're selling the body of one every year.
We don't sell the cow. We don't sell the
There's
meat.
zero.
Or anything like that. We
So
have it for our own purposes, for our own use.
okay, so you're talking about a homestead situation.
Yes.
Okay, and you have 9 acres of land.
92.
92 acres of land.
Yes.
And I'm assuming that some of that 92 acres is arable land.
I'm not 100% sure. I would have to ask my grandfather about that, where he's the one who owns the land. but it's half forest and there's two other halves. One's a field and one's a pasture.
What was it that you feed the cows? Where do you grow that?
It's just a little. It's literally just. We actually have a hayfield down the road that we go and mow with
Could
a
you
tractor.
grow human food there instead?
We could, yes, but just where I'm from, the prices and stuff have gone up drastically. Just where I'm from, Canada, and well, if you know anything, Canada's prices have gone through the roof, and it's kind of hard. So,
Uh, Gone up for what?
well, just anything when it comes to the agriculture and stuff like that, prices have
I
gone up
mean,
through the roof.
the animals that you're raising eat plants. You could just, like I said, just grow your food instead of their food. Stop raising them. They eat more than you do.
Well, yes, but the thing is, where
So you could feed
500 pounds of
more
food is a lot.
people. You could feed more people on your land if you didn't have cattle.
I'd actually be able to give more people food if we killed one cow a year because we're 500 pounds of meat
See,
that
but
goes.
you have to feed those cows. You could grow human food instead of feeding the cow.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
we
not
usually
correct.
just let them graze on the grass,
I know, but you
and
could grow human food instead.
Yeah, growing crops are a lot cheaper than having to feed cows.
I mean, he's growing crops anyway. He's growing the crops to feed his cows. I'm saying stop having cows and use that same land to grow human food. It sounds very easy. There's
the only
actually, I
thing
have a
about that is,
resource for you. I have a resource for you. Whether or not we see eye to eye, I want you to at least have this resource. It's called the Ranchers Advocacy Program. I hope you look that up. It's run by Renee. She has Rowdy Girl Sanctuary. Her and her husband had a ranch. So if you do consider that you maybe would want to know what other options you can do with your land to still, celebrate your culture, history, maybe even use it to make money, they can help you transition. But that
okay,
aside, I just want you to have that resource because she's such a valuable person, even just to ask questions. So Renee is great.
okay, okay.
But that said, yeah. So what is stopping you from going vegan? What is stopping you from using animals?
Well, honestly, it's a huge thing about how you're raised. If you're raised up, like, eating meat, that's how you were taught, you're gonna eat meat. No shame against that. You shouldn't shame people
All
for
of
eating.
us were raised that way.
That's called indoctrination because they don't know any better.
I wasn't born vegan.
Well, nobody's born vegan.
Yeah, I've only been vegan 9 years, and I'm 37. Just turned 37 a couple days ago.
It's the thing is about growing stuff on my land is that it would cost a lot more to, maintenance our machines, all the
Right. So that's where,
seed and all
if
of
you're
that.
talking about the land transition, that's where I would reach out to Renee because I do understand that. Thank you, Sierra. I do understand that people are specifically farmers can be kind of stuck, like they can't necessarily change if they wanted to, and that's why I like pointing you to Renee because she's at least a resource you can reach out to if you do feel like you're stuck. They can help you navigate out of it because they've done it. They've done it for other people. So don't let that
Well,
hold you back from making the moral choices.
I'm not saying that I dislike people who are vegan. I just don't like it when, it feels like they're being like, oh, you're doing wrong, but it's
Oh, we can
culture.
talk about that. Like, why do you think a vegan would think it's wrong for you to use animals? Thank you, Freesia. I don't know if you want to take a screenshot that Ranchers Advocacy Program. Freesia, put it in the chat.
Well, that's on them. No offense to anybody. Like, if you have your own beliefs, you can have your own beliefs. Just as long as you don't shove it down people's throats, and
Right, but I'm asking you, why do you think
yeah.
vegans are doing that? Why do you think they would, in your opinion, be forcing veganism down your throat? Why would they do that? Do you think that vegans just enjoy shoving moral superiority on people, or is there something else?
Well, I find a lot of them don't know the facts and stuff about farming and stuff. Like, I'm not saying they're dumb. Like, no, I'll never say that. I'm just saying that there's some things they don't take into accountability about.
So, I mean, how much do you need to know to just respect someone, right? Like do you know what veganism is? Let's start there. That way we can be talking about the same thing.
No, not really. I've heard of the word, don't
Okay.
know what it means.
Sure. So, I guess let me first understand at all what you know of veganism, so I'm not like repeating it. If I said I'm vegan, what would you think of me?
I would just
Like,
think
what would
you're a
you think
human
I'm
that eats-
describing? Okay.
I would think you're a regular human that eats plants instead of meat.
Okay. So,
No shame in that.
veganism is it's a principled stance and a rights movement. It's a stance against the exploitation of sentient beings as far as practicable and possible. So that means as far as I'm absolutely able to, and it's not a gang thing either. It's that I genuinely don't want to support someone shaking in a cage for me when I know it's unnecessary. So that's what veganism is. Does that make more sense why someone might force that down your throat if like for example, if someone was kicking their dog, would you say that I'm forcing my beliefs down their throat if I told them to stop?
Well, no, that's a more of an opinion thing. If that like I'm not saying it's right, but if that's what they want to do,
What do you think the
who am I to
dog
say they
thought? What
can't?
do you think the dog thinks? Does the dog
I
think keep kicking me
I
or does it think stop this hurts?
it probably think it's hurt. It probably thinks it hurts. And like, oh my god, I think it's
Right.
me.
So when we're thinking about the victims, who should I be considering? Should I be considering the oppressor or should I be like that I'm going to offend them with my opinion or should I be standing up for the victim?
Well, in the case of like people kicking a dog, yes, it's wrong, and they should never do it.
Right.
And
But
obviously, like,
am I
yeah.
immoral for telling them to stop, for speaking up for the victim?
Well, no, where it's a dog, I 100% get that.
Okay.
But like,
So
like, how's it stop?
wouldn't
It's different.
removing their head be escalating the violence, be making it worse?
Okay, so at that point, it's kind of a cultural thing. Just up in Asia and stuff, people eat dogs. That's their culture,
Would
and
you eat
I'm
dog?
not okay with that. Personally, I wouldn't. Just with that's my culture.
Why?
My culture
Why
would
not?
eat dog.
But
I
why
don't
does
know.
your
Just
culture not want to do that?
well,
Yeah.
here's the thing. Like from the food chain, my
Food chain?
culture looks at
What
dogs
does
as
that have to
pets.
do with anything? Food chain has nothing to do with that. The food
Food
chain is
chain.
just a. Go ahead,
Oh,
Freesia.
I was just gonna say the food chain doesn't determine whether or not you respect a cat or a dog. Like that has nothing to do with the food chain. Like you choosing to respect a dog doesn't have anything to do with the food chain.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
And it's not a culture for Asian people or the Asian countries that they eat everything and it's wrong and how they go about it, it's very horrific.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
there's
not
other
necessarily
countries that do it.
it's not necessarily wrong. Just where if it's a cultural thing, I 100% get it. I can't. I will never shame anybody for what their culture does, because that's
Okay,
You
let's say
just
you
that's
go home.
it's not a cultural thing with them. They eat everything and the way they go about it, it's very horrific.
well, you see,
I
it's
mean, we're not doing any different. They don't discriminate between animals, a lot of other countries, or they just have their own discrimination that they go by. Americans are really doing no different to the animals. We are bopping them in the head, we're slicing their throat, and we're hanging them upside down to drain. That's all
I
I'm
mean,
Okay.
yeah, there's a lot of Americans who eat bobcat. They'll eat
Yeah.
raccoons. They'll eat all sorts of other animals that a lot of people would completely disagree with.
I've
Yeah.
eaten. I've eaten alligator, crocodile, and all this stuff.
And what
But
we're
why
saying,
wouldn't you eat a dog? So go ahead, Freesia.
yeah, no, what we're saying is that it's not okay to take the lives of any of them. You don't have to, so you shouldn't. And we're saying
Well,
that you should respect all of their lives equally, and that they have a right to their life and a right to live their life free from exploitation.
I understand where you're coming from, but personally, I like it is a belief thing. Like I'm not gonna judge you for believing that. but I believe that it's not wrong to, kill a cow, kill a goat, kill a sheep, like
You
that.
do believe what we believe. You just have cognitive dissonance. You have this, like, you do understand when we're talking about dogs, but you have the exact opposite when it's a cow, even though there's no moral difference. You're just literally contradicting yourself. There is
All
no
right.
moral difference between a cow and a dog. Cows are called grass puppies.
Never heard that before. But,
Yeah, they like to play with balls and run around. The point is, though, they're sentient. Like, dogs, they have a personality, right? Dogs have personality. Each dog is unique. No two dogs are the same, right?
Well, obviously, yes.
Yeah, they have their own unique wants and preferences. They look forward to different unique things, like going for walks or food time or whatever, cuddles. Animals that we use are the exact same. We just don't spend the same kind of time with them. They have the same cognition level. And just as it would be wrong to cause a dog suffering unnecessarily, it'd be wrong to cause a cow unnecessary suffering by robbing them of their freedom and bodily autonomy. We don't need to do that to them.
Personally, we don't cause them suffering, just where we use a gun.
Doesn't matter. Even if I would argue that's still suffering, but even if we were able to give them the most pleasant passing, is it ever moral to take someone's life who wanted to keep living, who was innocent, who was healthy?
It's a cow.
See, you can't answer me.
Dog.
Cows are very intelligent. We compare them to toddlers.
Pigs are more intelligent than dogs.
Yeah, they're the fifth smartest animal on the planet. Pigs are.
Yeah.
We're putting emotional, feeling beings into the scariest system that we ourselves wouldn't even tolerate. We wouldn't even put our worst humans through a slaughterhouse because we know it's not humane. Because we know it's not humane. We do it to animals because we now, when we're using them, when we benefit from their oppression, it's easier to lower our perspective on them. We reduce their intelligence. We reduce their sentience, even though sentience is only binary. We go, oh, they're not experiencing the same as us. Therefore, it's okay that I take advantage of them because they're vulnerable and they look different.
I hope you realize that people train like animals such as cows to be pets or to be killed on like a pasture such as I do.
Is it ever moral to use someone without their consent?
They can't give consent or not, so...
Is lack of consent consent?
Is lack of consent what?
Consent. Does that equal consent? If someone cannot consent to something, if you're like, hey, I want to do something to you, and they are unable to consent, do you now have the right to do what you wanted to them?
It's a cow.
What if it's a human?
It's not a human,
sorry.
It's a cow.
Okay.
I might be done with him. Does anybody else want to try? He clearly doesn't want to talk to me.
It's obviously for taste, pleasure for you, and you can't see past the point that we're trying to make that a dog, a pig, a bird.
Well, no, I just feel like
they're all the same. They all feel. They all protect their young. They all are happy. They all have emotions, just like we do.
Leland, I feel like what you're doing is you just keep on going back to this idea of they're a cow. Well, actually, you say it's a cow, but they're a cow, right? Because they are a someone. They're an individual. Every single one of those cows, every single one of those cows that you have, they're all individuals, right?
No, they're cows. You kill them. You eat them.
They are individuals. Like they are a being with their own subjective experience in the world.
I understand why you think that.
No, I mean, do you think that if you look at dogs, would you say a dog is an individual? Do you have a dog?
Yes, I do. She's pretty messed up in the head though, but I do have a dog.
Name? What's your dog's name?
It's Blossom. She was a rescue from Texas.
Blossom. Okay. Yeah. So Blossom, you would say that Blossom is an individual, right?
Somewhat. When she's all there, yeah. Which she's usually not, because she's pretty. No offense to her, she's not all there. In the head.
Well, no, why did you say no offense to her?
Well, it's a dog. No, okay.
no, why'd you say no
Dog
offense to
type
her?
family, I was not.
Okay, so you see Blossom as a part of your family, and that's
Of
why
course,
when
yeah.
you were talking negatively about her, you said no offense to her because you feel for her. You understand that she has certain feelings, right? When she was younger, she probably had her own favorite toys, all that kind of stuff.
When she was younger, she was on the streets getting kicked by people.
At some
Like, safety.
under your toys, maybe favorite place to go, maybe favorite people. Or are you denying that Blossom has had preferences in her life?
Well, she's not a people person, or a people dog, I guess.
Okay, so then she has a preference to not be around a lot of people because of her past trauma, because of what has happened to her. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. And so that shows that she is an individual. She is not like another dog. She wouldn't be like a dog that I have had, right? She's her own individual. And what we're saying is that the same goes for all these other animals. Every single one of those cows that you have on your homestead, they are all individuals. They all probably have a certain cow that they enjoy spending time with. Like they have their own society essentially in a way. And just because you say they're a cow doesn't take that away from them.
They're a cow. They're a source of food. Okay. Personally, that's how I look at a cow. I look at them as a source of food.
I think you're not willing to look past that. I think you understand what I'm saying, and you're deciding to fall back on they're a cow because you don't want to see them for individuals who actually want to live their life.
I'm sorry. I'm just kind of flabbergasted that you keep pushing this down my throat.
Pushing what's on your throat? Did you not request?
Yeah, I did.
Okay,
I'm just saying.
so
I was trying to say something.
You
I feel like
requested, and you're more than welcome to leave at any point in time. No one's pushing anything down your throat. In fact, you're the one who has taken the life of others.
Well, okay. Well, personally, I've never shot one of them. Okay, that's my grandfather. So no, I have not taken a life. Thank you very much.
You're supporting it.
Yeah, you're.
Well, yeah, it's food.
Maybe you should go sit with them. Maybe you should go sit with them and lay down with them and pet them and get to know them, and maybe that might help you a little bit.
No, I'm good. They're a cow.
Okay, great. Then we have another person that's wanting to discuss things.
Yeah. We can go ahead and kick Leland. I just want to be clear that maybe you should go check out a sanctuary where the animals are not in this fear mode. You can actually see them doing their natural stuff. Cows are really intelligent. It's sad that you keep demeaning their intelligence and their abilities, but yeah, they're morally worth the same as us. They feel they can suffer. They want to live. That's all that matters. Big golf man, please unmute yourself.
Hello.
Are you over 18?
I am, yes.
Right on. How do you morally justify your animal use?
I agree with everything you say. It's not right. It's not fair. For me, the only reason I do is I have a health condition, unfortunately, which is flare-ups by most vegetables, and unfortunately meat isn't one of them things that causes a flare-up.
Okay. Let's say you didn't have this current situation, would you find it to be a moral obligation then to live vegan?
I'd be more open to it, yes, absolutely.
Okay. So you do recognize that animals are sentient and that they can... Okay. Have you ever talked to any dietitians about your situation?
I have, yeah. I'm currently registered under dietitians.
Okay. Do you want to be vegan?
Sorry, would you mind repeating that?
Yeah. Do you even want to be vegan?
If it's going to help things, yes, but...
No, not for you. For the animals. would you even aspire to be vegan? Like, if there was a way for you to be vegan to get everything you needed in your area, would you do it?
Providing my wife were to, yes, because it'd be. I feel like having
Sure.
two separate sources of food would create additional costs.
Yeah.
So
Well,
if
she's your
my
wife.
partner
You should
was,
absolutely share your thoughts with each other. Absolutely. Yeah.
then
Yeah. So,
yeah,
okay.
absolutely.
If she was on board, okay. So if you wanted to be vegan, what I would suggest, well, actually, what I want to ask you first before I move on to that is, why would you want to be vegan? Like, is it again just for you, or what's your purpose?
I do respect animals. I love animals. Granted, I don't own things like cows and stuff, but I still go to we have like a lot of farms around where I live where you can go pet the animals, feed the animals and stuff. I enjoy that.
Okay.
My daughter loves it.
If you could do that and know that the animals aren't being exploited, wouldn't that be preferable?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it sounds like your heart is in the right place. Like, do you try to avoid cleaning products or any cosmetics that are tested on animals when you can? Like, when you can see the labels?
If you can see the labels, yes. To be brutally honest, if it's not transparent, like in front of you, then no, because you don't always know.
Okay. So you're saying that you don't always check, but you would prefer to do cruelty-free?
Ideally, yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Lori. I didn't mean to. I saw you pop in.
Yeah, you can check the ingredients, and if you're not sure about it, just look it up. You know,
Oh yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't know what I'm looking for.
Well, so there are actually apps now that exist. I think Cruelty Cutter is one of them. There's another one called, I think it's Bunny app. You can just look up on Google or some kind of search engine, type in cruelty-free apps, and they usually have a little scan. So when you're in the store, you can just scan the barcode, and it tells you if it was tested on animals or not. So if you had a tool like that, would you be more willing to look out for the animals and avoid demanding their use for the cosmetics specifically we're talking about?
Of course.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah. So I would just go into Google and look up any of them. Like I said, I know Kitty Cutter is one of them, and then there's another one with a bunny on it. That one I trust more as the bunny because it goes over ingredients and if it's been tested on someone. Go ahead, Freesia. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, no, I was just going to say, I just checked the App Store, and I haven't tried some of these, but yeah, there's the cruelty-free shopping guide. That one has like the leaping bunny. There's one called Ralphie cruelty-free. Yucca, which is a food and cosmetic scanner. Let's see, it looks like there's one
Yucca.
from
I'm gonna write that
PETA.
one down.
Yeah, I don't know, I've tried Yucca before. Yeah, Cruelty Cutter is another one. Bunny Free. There's a bunch actually. Wow, I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I can't remember. Every time I look them up, there's a ton, and I'm like, oh, these all seem kind of cool.
Yeah, there's a ton.
There's
Wow,
a lot
there's a
of
vegan scanner. Yeah, there's a ton.
Yeah, it's definitely something to look into. I appreciate the cosmetic side of things. I can definitely do that. I just hope you understand in terms of the eating side, it is a lot harder due to what I have.
So, I would suggest also, if you're willing and you want to become vegan, I would go onto Google and type in vegan challenges. There are multiple options where there's free dietitians available, and you can, if you still have access to your dietitian, even dietitians are usually the best ones to go to because they focus on how nutrition affects your health, and you need to just be transparent with them that you want to be vegan, and they will help you find the best way for you to do so, right? And they can talk with you about if there are obstacles that might be difficult, and that's for you to kind of work out. I would strongly urge to still look for the vegan challenges because they often provide networks of people that are new to veganism as well, so you can like share your hardships, your struggles, and learn from other people and what they've found out, or share what you've learned. But like I said, maybe just reach out to your dietitian. Say, I want to live vegan, and then see what they come up with. Would you be willing to do that? Go ahead, Lori. Sorry.
I was just gonna say they have a lot. They have a lot more education than like doctors. They have like four to 8,000 hours that they put in, and Challenge 22 is a good resource. Challenge22.com. They can help you with your health issues and point you in directions to purchasing foods and where to buy them in your area.
Yeah.
And it's a
Well,
free resource for 22 days.
Yeah. But if you look up that challenge and you don't like that one, there's others. So to know there are options, but what's great is having access to a dietitian and having access to other groups of other people. Those are, other vegans. Those are like the two main things to help you the most in your struggles.
yeah, absolutely.
So, okay, so I would suggest looking up one of those challenges maybe so that you have access to a dietitian, or if you just reach out to your dietitian. I would love to know if you're willing to share with me what your dietitian says, or how you feel about it, if it's changed your mind.
Yeah, of course. It's some, like I say, it's definitely something I can do.
Yeah,
I have regular.
it sounds like your heart is right there. Like I have no doubt.
It is something I do have regular sort of meetups with my dietitian, so it's something I can bring up to them next time I see them.
Yeah, be
And
like,
I
is
can
it
definitely
possible
have a
for
look
me
at
to
that
live
challenge.
100% plant-based because I want to be vegan? And veganism itself is a principled stance against exploitation where practicable and possible, which means to the best of our ability as far as we possibly can. And it's because we don't want to support it, right? So if, let me put it to you this way, if I had to choose between life-saving medicine or passing away, and this life-saving medicine I know was tested on someone and took their life to be tested, I would still advocate for people to take the life-saving medicine, but to advocate for those that they now have used, those that have been sacrificed for them. They need to speak up and say there needs to be another way, right? So it's understandable for necessity,
Yeah,
but don't use that as like a comforting crutch. Try to always look for an alternative or a way out. That's on
Yeah,
you though, it's what you want to support.
there's
yeah, of
somebody.
course.
There's somebody in the chat saying that they tried or they love Challenge 22 and it helped their daughter with POTS syndrome.
Yeah. Yeah, the access to dietitians and groups to talk to are just vital. That's what really makes the retention. And it's about, it's not that you're being brainwashed, it's that you have these principles that you don't want to harm someone else. And sometimes in a non vegan world, people can convince you to cross your principles to fit in. So what's nice is having an environment where you can talk to others that share the same belief that using others without their consent is immoral, and share where your struggles are. That I feel like that's huge. So
Yeah, of course.
yeah, but the dietitian, like I said, either the challenge that Lori mentioned or your dietitian, just coming at it from I want to be a vegan perspective.
Yeah, I'll take the
Cool.
time to have a look at both. To be fair.
Yeah, please do. It's always good to get more opinions.
Absolutely. Right,
All
I
right.
do apologise, but I'm going to have to go. But I appreciate
Oh
you
no, that's
having
totally
me.
fine. I appreciate you being up here. Thank you so much for being open-minded and checking out resources. And like I said, I really want to hear from you. So, yeah, reach out to me if you do the challenges.
Of course, thank you very much.
Yeah, you have a great day.
You
See you
too.
later, Big Golf.
Bye.
All right, bye. Oh, that was so nice, guys.
So nice.
Yeah.
That makes me happy. I love it when there's people who
Yeah,
come up
Daniel,
and
at least he's receptive and
Yeah.
sounds like
He's
he really
he's willing to
wants
look
to.
at resources, especially in a
Exactly.
challenge situation like that. I totally get you want to make sure you're healthy. You don't want to be sick. I don't want to feel sick. I
Right.
get that. Yeah.
yeah, no, of course. And he was so patient too, because we talked to that other guy for a while, and he was so patient.
I know that's oh, you know what I should yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. I should have thanked him. Big golf man, I think big golf man, right? Thank you for being so patient sitting up here that whole time. That really was admirable. Just sitting up there quietly.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's huge. That doesn't happen often on TikTok. It's usually like hush 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 hush.
Hello, how's it going?
Hey,
It's
can you
Daniel
give your
here.
age? Can you give your age for TikTok
And
purposes?
38 he, him if you need pronouns. I'm actually a chef, so I could talk about pros and cons of both. And there is
Well, how do you morally justify the use?
more. Well, here's the thing. First of all, resistance to change is a natural bodily reaction to one's personal beliefs. So if
Absolutely.
so whenever this conversation is brought up, or any other, as a matter of fact, like even in with feminism or any other movement, when you're bringing some points to the opposing side or the other side, if you will, the initial reaction, it's a it's building up anger or something. They feel like someone's shoving down their throat something, but in general, it's just a need for conversation. We have to talk about things like this, and to try to justify either side, and if possible, meet somewhere in the middle, and find the best solution, which is something that I personally believe. So, morally justifying the use of animals is unfortunately some of the stuff cannot be provided, some of the nutrients cannot be provided by the plants, and
Like what?
then in order that you would have to use some of the supplements, which are now more available than they have been before.
Where do the
um
animals get it?
Sorry, animals get it.
Where do the
Well,
animals get their nutrients from?
animals get it from the plants, some of the animals who are
What nutrients were you talking
plant
about then?
eaters, but um, also our digestive systems are not the same as the animals, so the acids
Ian,
in the
hold on. Can
stomach
you
are
slow
not the
down? Can you
same.
slow down?
Yeah, I was gonna
What
say.
nutrients were you talking about specifically?
One of them would be vitamin D. This per se, calcium would be one of them.
Well, vitamin D, you get vitamin D from the sun. You can also get it from mushrooms. But if you're talking about vitamin D from something like milk, it's fortified. Like cow
Okay,
milk, it's fortified with vitamin D.
okay, I accept that. So, um, anyways, calcium. Where would you get calcium from? Based from the plant-based diet.
There's plenty of calcium in dark leafy greens. Calcium is something that is in plant foods. It's very easy to find, and you can easily just search up sources of these things.
Okay, and then. Mhm. And then also another
Oh,
thing.
so to Frasia's point, if you go to nutritionfacts.org, they have what's called, I know you can't see it because your box is covering it, but it says Daily Dozen.
No, no,
If you
it's
just
okay.
Google,
I will write it down. Just give me one sec. Nutrition and fast.
hmm
.org. Is it org? I
yeah,
don't have my glasses on,
ORG.
so okay.
That's okay, yeah. Nutritionfacts.org. Yep.
No, okay,
And
perfect.
they go over the studies about what enforces they have a little checklist of just making sure you get everything you need in a day from plants. And they do
Mm-hmm.
suggest a supplement of the B12, but that's because it's made from bacteria. It's not made from the animals.
Mm-hmm.
So just so you get the
I
nutrition info.
personally have gone, I mean, back and forth, not back and forth, but like I don't always consume meat. I also I'm heavy plant-based user, if you will, or consumer. So I feel lighter and I feel different eating plant products, but from time to time I feel the cravings and stuff that I would resort to fish and sometimes chicken. Not huge fan of pork or beef, but yeah, so that's one thing. But then again, my stance on Mhm, go ahead.
Do you think that your pleasure was worth more than their life?
Um, Absolutely not. I mean, I would agree that also, as Leland said a minute ago, but again, I think he should have been more open to listen and um,
I mean, he brought
hear
up good
what.
points every once in a while that I do think that need to be addressed for some people, but he also, yeah, he just got a little out of
Yeah.
control at the end.
So, a lot of it has to do with the cultural identity and sustainability and tradition. And in that respect, you kind of have to break away. So it depends on where you come from.
Right.
Like if you're in the States and Canada or UK, where you have, of course, the whole moral framework is different and have
What
gone
about you,
through.
though? What do you
Well,
think?
the thing is, I personally come from a very traditional background, but I've spent a decent amount of years living in Canada. So, I moved to Canada at a time when I was 18, 19. So my shift in mindset, I think, happened at the right time. That I could still do things that are, you know, to have broader horizon and views on different things, and some things have been more available to me
So
than they
what's
were back
so
home.
what's stopping you now from living vegan?
Um, what's stopping me now? Like I said, I mean, I would say that I'm 80% plant-based and 20% is meat, and I'm transitioning to like 100% plant-based diet. Like I said, it's mostly the psychological effects of cravings and stuff like that when it happens. But for the most part, I would agree that it's morally, probably not probably morally is likely to be the right thing, to consume the plant based diet. So, but there's something that I would maybe want to talk about if you're open to, and which is the scale of agriculture that kind of affects the animals around it, including rodents, insects, and all the other animals that are part of the uh, food chain, right? So the
So what I would start with is I just want to encourage you to watch this after we're done talking. Go
does it
watch
say
Dominion on
Dominion?
YouTube. Yeah. It's
Let
better
me
to
write
put
it down.
2018 at the end of it just because there's a recent another Dominion movie, but this is
Mhm.
about the animals. It has a cow on the cover.
I would suggest
Um,
for people who are meat eaters to watch Food Inc. as well, which is one
yeah,
of
that's
the
another great one. Those are
yeah.
more focused on like what you're about to talk about, which is the factory farming. Dominion focuses on even it mentions even the grass-fed,
Hmm.
humanely raised small farms, small slaughterhouse. It goes over all of those. So I do like you said what the health, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like that documentary. It is really good. But I like
Hmm.
Dominion more just because it's focused on what really matters. It's not so much about the environment and our health, although those are wonderful perks that come from eating a whole food plant based diet. But it's about the
Hmm.
animals. I don't care if someone wants to eat whole food. I'm more wondering why are we demanding sentient beings being used for anything when we don't need to?
Hmm. And I do have
So.
a one question that would kind of sum up um, my professional career, but also this conversation because I don't want to take up space for other people who
Oh,
want to
you can
join.
take up space. Like if you're not vegan, you're the one I want to talk to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I would, being a chef, like I realize that no diet is harm-free, so
Hmm.
everything comes at one expense or the other, whether you are a vegan or carnivore. So let me just I'll mute myself for 30 seconds just to move away from the background noise. So.
Oh, don't worry.
Yeah, and what a great profession to be in because, like, you have the ability to learn more about recipes and things like that and spread the
Yeah, it's actually the
word.
best position.
There are,
Yeah.
yeah, there are so many restaurants that are changing and going plant-based, and you know,
Yeah,
I wish I could learn to be a chef.
I was just gonna say, do you guys remember the name of that one French chef who went vegan? And he
Oh,
does
yeah.
like,
He's the Michelin
yeah,
stars. Yes,
yeah,
he's in New York. Yeah. I don't remember his name though.
I don't either.
I do know who you're talking about though. Yeah.
I know like I've seen his videos and I know what he looks like, but yeah,
Yeah.
I don't remember his name.
Okay, I'm back. So my transition personally started with the fact that I work as a personal chef now more than I do restaurants, and I've become a personal chef to a CEO from India. So I had to like completely switch my everything pretty much that I knew about cooking to go into plant-based cooking completely.
Oh,
And
nice. So
so now having
he eats plant-based.
hmm So
Okay.
having to test all the recipes for him, I was like, oh well, this is cool. I like the flavor, like the taste, like the texture, so I'm gonna make this for myself. So I was
Right
kind of
on.
stealing recipes, if you will.
Hell yeah. That's what you should do as a
And
chef. I feel like, you create your own new thing off of that too.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I would like add to the conversation. There is a couple from Germany who actually probably is one of the top food creators on social media. Vegan Wonder is their name, and their
I
recipes are
think I've
outstanding.
seen them. I think I've
Yeah.
seen them. I don't know if I
hmm
don't like I follow a lot of German influencers, but I don't always watch their stuff because I'm an ignorant American, so I
And
only speak
their
English.
recipes are great. Their recipes are great. Videos are great. So that also kind of now from personal, position, uh, kind of helped me transition. So you don't view vegan food as the bland or
Right.
something that's not tasty or something that's just awful. And then when you remove that moral framework, you don't really have a problem consuming plant-based food.
Yes. That is a
So,
route you can go is through health. That's actually what brought me to be vegan as well. Was first I was caring about my health. But honestly, I do wish someone had spoken to me when I first picked up that book, because I read a book. It's called Skinny Bitch, so it was focused on getting skinny. If I had had someone tell me, like, those animals are no different than a dog, and you're demanding that they have their throat slit, I probably would have acted faster instead of taking 6 years to finally become vegan, because I would eat dairy because it was a diet to me. It wasn't about someone's rights. It was
mhm,
just about me. But when you think about it, you're demanding victims so that you can partake in animal ag products. And yeah, I just wasn't really fully aware of how powerful my demand really was.
yeah. So I mean, like I said, everything. And when it comes to conversations like this, first of all, I have to tell you that I have absolute respect for you. You are very respectful towards people who come up on a panel and talk. You give them time and space to, even if they disagree. I mean, you're very respectful, and that's the type of conversations we need to have. And I think that this is one of the reasons why a lot of people reject talking about going vegan is because
Mm-hmm.
all these conversations are emotionally charged to the point where no one listens, no one side listens to the other. So, and that's why the point doesn't get crossed and the message doesn't get delivered. So, thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I do get heated though, to be fair. I will get angry at people, even if sometimes we've had a good conversation and then sometimes people just, I don't know. It's because it's a sensitive topic. And I think it's been made so sensitive because I think it's because of these large
But believe me, it's
corporations
with
putting
any
fear.
with any topic that challenges your own beliefs, whether it's a faith, whether it's schmeck's orientation, whether it's this or that, uh, and that's what I'm saying is like when you're coming from culturally strong backgrounds,
Hmm.
that's when it gets really tough. And for
I
me
mean, I
personally, coming from a traditional background, it was very tough to accept. Like moving to Canada was, seeing all the
but
freedoms
what
and
do you want to
liberties.
support? That's what it comes down to.
Mm,
It doesn't matter your background. What do you want to continue to support? Do you want to support
um,
someone's
I
oppression? Is
pers-
it preferable?
I personally want to support plant-based diet, and
Right. If
you
you were
know,
the victim, though, instead of thinking of it as a diet, think of it as an objection to oppression. You're objecting to demanding someone be used for you. Plant-based is just a diet for you to be healthy. You know,
Right.
veganism
Well, it's
is
a term that
a
is
stance.
present all the time. But I mean, yeah, you're right. Um,
Well, so
and I would definitely
if you're
testing
against,
on animals would I would definitely it would definitely be something that I would want to see end.
hmm
Because
well, what part
um,
do you think you can play in that?
I actually do. I have written several letters, open letters to companies that are still here right now in
Okay, there's
Serbia.
letters,
You
but
know,
where do you put your dollar? Because that's the letter they pay attention to.
well, I first of all, I'm making very informed decisions when I'm buying products. I'm trying to get as much
Well, let
knowledge
me
as
put it this way.
possible.
If you were to find a company that was selling a product that you just liked, but you found out it was really immoral, would you write them a letter and continue to keep using the product, or would you stop
Oh,
using
no,
the
no, no, no.
product?
I would end using the product. I mean, if I
Right,
discovered
because
that
they're going
this
to
is
pay
how
attention
you
when you take away the money.
absolutely, absolutely.
Right. So I'm telling
Um,
you that you're prolonging animals' oppression by taking baby steps to being plant-based. You're still
well,
demanding someone be exploited for you. How many animals do you want exploited for you, knowing that they're all going to be exploited for you to get eggs, milk, leather, whatever?
Yeah,
I
and you
would
have
like.
such a great
I
platform.
I personally would love zero. And
Right.
but like I said, uh, we all start somewhere. You started somewhere in your transition. I'm starting somewhere in mine,
Yeah.
and gaining
Every
more
vegan I
knowledge.
know,
So,
though, says they wish they'd gone vegan sooner. They wish they'd have known sooner. It wasn't
oh,
until
I
it
wish
clicked.
too. I wish too. Um, you know,
Well, so you're
uh,
still in that seat. Go watch. Have you seen Dominion?
I have not. No, that's why I said I was
You
gonna
should.
write it down, and I
So,
did.
yeah, yeah. Definitely check out Dominion because it'll show you what those labels mean. So when you go into the store, you won't be lulled by, humanely raised, cage free, grass
Hmm.
fed, you know,
Oh, all the
A
labels.
plus plus on humane care, whatever their labels are.
Hmm.
Dominion shows you what's allowed under that label, and you'll know what it is that actually what they mean.
But there is one
And you.
challenge for me personally that I do have, which I still haven't fully grasped. Um, and that's like when we're talking about, uh, about the food. Why do
Mhm.
all vegan companies chase the animal flavor? That's
Oh,
something that
because
I've
they're
been.
trying to convert people. They want you, the omnivore, to eat their products.
I know, but
See,
like
see,
for
so
me
the
personally,
supply
that's
and
a
demand works like
wrong
this. Hold on.
approach.
So when you go into the store and you pick up the animal product, you're telling them, I like the price, I like how this was made, make more. So then your demand literally puts the next individual in there. If you don't pick up that animal product and you pick up a plant based product, they're going to make more plant based products, right? And they're going to try to cater it to your specific wants. They want you to buy their product. So they're going to make it
I know,
taste
but
and bleed and whatever, just like animal flesh
right. But here's
for
the
you.
thing. For me, that's a psychological manipulation in order to get more
Okay,
to
don't
get.
buy it then. You can eat
I
whole food plant based. This doesn't even include any of those vegan, like not even seitan. It's just whole food plant based.
Yeah, that's fine.
You can
I
get
mean, like I
everything you
said,
need. Okay, so
uh,
you don't need to
mhm,
eat those things. People eat garbage food. Let them. Who
true.
cares? The argument is, are they demanding someone's oppression? That's the problem.
Hmm.
If you want to eat a garbage burger, I don't care.
Go
Is it
ahead. Yeah.
someone's body? That's the issue. You had to take someone's life to make the animal based burger. The plant based, you didn't have to do that. You know? You can buy the plant based right now. You could buy bean burgers. You don't even need to buy
They're
Beyond or
delicious.
Impossible. Yeah, I
They're,
personally I love all of the vegan alternatives that we have available, but I don't eat Beyond and Impossible because they're not really healthy. I just don't.
Yeah.
I have other things that I eat like tempeh and tofu and beans. Eat a lot of beans. I love beans. But you know, you can view it your own way. You can do it your own way. You don't have to eat those things.
All right. Thank you for the time to both of you, Lori,
Yeah.
and you as well. And
Yeah, I appreciate
I
you
will
being up here.
definitely continue my journey towards the complete transition
Well,
to
just watch
being
Dominion
vegan.
at minimum. Watch that so that you know, even when you go back in that store and you buy free range eggs, you know where it came from and the history behind it. And by
Yeah.
history, I mean like their
Yeah.
lineage, their families that are still in those places. So just
Yeah.
be
And
informed.
like I said, you have a great platform.
You know, even when, and by history, I mean like they're informed.
And like nation and you know many different kinds of people.
Many different kinds of races, many different kinds of religions. You know, you have a really great ability to do that as a chef.
I'll think about the ways to utilize that to the max. So
Yeah.
thank you for
Actually, yeah, you as a chef have a great, because honestly, it's the seasonings that make vegan food taste good, or even animal-based foods. It makes them, it's the seasoning. So since you're a chef, I would imagine you're actually a pretty amazing vegan chef too. So, I mean, you're already cooking that way. You know
I
what
have
to
become
do.
one. I'm actually pretty proud
Yeah.
of myself for
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
getting to the point to make very delicious vegan food. So
Hell
Yeah.
yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, just consider that number of animals you want exploited for you. And like I said, watch Dominion, okay?
absolutely. Thank
Okay.
you,
Yeah,
ladies.
come
All
back
right.
Have a good one.
and look and tell us
Yeah.
how things are going.
Absolutely.
Please do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Well, thank you for being up here.
Yeah.
That was great. Another open-minded person.
Yeah. And being
Yeah.
a chef, he has a lot of power.
Hell
Being a
yeah.
chef.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Exactly.
You want to do one more?
Sure. I think you've spoken to him before, Skillo.
Oh,
He's been waiting, but
Skillo.
Skillo,
I don't remember
yeah.
where we left off, Skillo. You have to remind us that you're over 18 first.
G'day.
Hey, are you over 18?
With this type of voice, I hope so. Maybe 33 years ago.
Okay, good. I just have to ask for TikTok purposes, and I don't really
Yes,
remember
I
our
know.
last interaction, so. Okay.
Yeah.
And then
I'm
how do you
actually
morally
enjoying it.
justify your... Right on. How do you morally justify your animal use?
Australian. So I eat like
Yeah.
lizards, snakes, emus, kangaroos.
Yeah, you could be
So,
vegan there. There's a activist out there named Tash Peterson. She's like hella vegan.
yeah, she's also broke and been run out of the country.
I don't know
You
if they
know
can
that.
run her out of the country. They made
Well,
it so she
she's
can't
in
leave.
like $500,000 debt.
She does, yeah, she does have a lot of debt. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. But she's
Yeah.
still vegan.
Well, I don't know what to say about it. I've seen what she done, but yeah.
That's
Each
fine.
to
You
their
don't
own.
have to like her.
I
So,
didn't say I
like-
didn't like her or dislike her. I just, yeah,
Okay.
we know about the same woman.
Yeah. So then I don't remember where we left off last time. So I'm sorry if I'm asking you the same questions. But do you think
I've never
that
been
we
on you
need to?
before.
Do
I
you think
love
that
meat.
we need? Do you think that we need animal flesh? Like, what is it in there that we need?
Having Corey background, yes. Corey
What?
background, First Nations people of Australia. So yes.
Oh, okay. Well, so what about for
65,000
you? What about for you specifically, though?
Yeah, I love
What
my
do you
meat.
What do you need? What do you need from animal flesh?
Why do I eat animals off the land? I don't virtually go to the shops and buy meat. We catch our
Okay.
animals mostly.
Why can't you just scavenge for plants?
Well, why can't we just scavenge for snakes?
Because snakes are sentient beings. Plants are not sentient.
They taste good.
But plants taste good too.
Oh, yes, they
So
do.
let me ask you this: should we
So hard, I
respect
know, but
animals?
I like this, and I've got to be respectful because, yeah.
Should we respect animals?
Yes, but we should also take what we need to eat.
Can you
We
respect
we
someone?
respect our animals. They've been here for centuries.
Can you
we take what
respect
we need.
someone? Can you respect someone while using them without your consent, or using them without their consent? Can you respect
That's going
someone
into
while
government
using
rules,
them
not moral
without their
laws.
consent? Is it
Nah.
moral, though, in your perspective, to use someone else
No, that's
without...
moral law.
Right,
No, you're right. That's a moral law.
right. So we're just,
You
that's
turned
all we're
everyone around. I'm
saying.
not going to turn around. I love my meat. I'm not going to change that. I'm
I
in my
mean,
50s.
to be kind of just frank with you, I used to be the type of person that would make fun of vegetarians. I
No,
used to literally say,
I don't take. I have no
oh no, I'm
disrespect
not
for what
saying
they
you
do.
are.
I love
I'm
my
telling you
veggies.
where I came from. I'm just telling you my background. I'm not
I
trying to
love my
insinuate this
veggies
is
and my
you.
salad and all my greens.
I
But I
would
still need my
tease
meat.
I would tease vegetarians that they would take my
Why
meat from
would you
my
tease
cold
them?
dead hands. Oh, because they challenged my morals. That's why. And I didn't like the idea they were trying to take my meat away. So I would tease them because it made me feel better about my choices. So I was that type of personality. I was like, you're not going to take my meat away from me. But I also didn't understand what I was saying. I didn't know that I was asking for someone to lose their life when I could have eaten plants. It would have been that easy. You're muted. I didn't do that. Uh-oh. It's right there. Do I need to invite you? Maybe it's TikTok. TikTok is also being a butt. I invited you to unmute. Oh no, did I just mute you?
I don't think you did.
Okay. I thought it said that I muted him. I was like, oh damn.
I don't think you did, no. But you've talked to him before, yeah. Oh, Yara said she muted him
That's
earlier.
okay. I told him, I invited him to unmute. Like, I'm totally fine with my mods stepping in. I totally applaud them having my back.
Yeah.
Hey, Skillo. You there?
Well, you have another person.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
There you go. Sorry, my bad.
So what's stopping you from living vegan?
Well, I do, kind of, sort of. I still eat a lot of
Well,
greens.
what's stopping you from respecting animals all the time?
Because it's my heritage.
I mean, my heritage also indulged in unaliving animals. Yeah, my grandma's hallways were all full of my grandma's hallways were full of ducks that she had caught and antlers of deer. So it was very much in my family's culture. They used to own a big house where they had to go hunt on their own forest, and it was a big cultural thing.
Okay.
But I don't need to do that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's all good.
So I'm just saying that I don't need to do that now. I can still celebrate my culture, but I don't need to violate someone's rights to do that. I can do other things. If I wanted to go out shooting, I can shoot the clay plates, you know, or I can go out and take. Okay, or you can go out and take pictures of animals. You do the same thing where you hide out in a bush and wait for them to cross an opening, and just instead of a pew pew, you have a camera.
Oh, sorry. Yes, that word. Sorry, my bad. Forgot.
Oh, it's fine. I didn't even hear you say it.
We don't have them in Australia.
Okay. Well, so my point is, though, instead of taking someone's life, we can enjoy them while they're here, you know, enjoy them for being a living being. We don't need to utilize them. We don't need to use them, right? We can still enjoy them and still have our culture. We can enjoy them being their own independent beings. So what's stopping you from all the time respecting animals and just living vegan?
Because I like the taste of it. And that's that.
But you know that doesn't morally justify it, though, right?
No, it's 100%.
I mean, it's very similar to someone, not that you're a grapist, but it's similar to the mindset of a grapist, where they don't care about their victim. They have a convenience and a pleasure.
I had something I was going to say to you at the start, and I'll leave that alone.
Okay. So there's a pleasure and a
you don't bring up words like that.
No, but so you are using someone's body for your sensory pleasure. It's only for sensory pleasure that you're violating someone.
You know what? I'm going to leave you with respect, yeah?
Okay. Well, just bear in mind what I said, that animals are sentient. That means that they have the same capacity to suffer. They have the capacity to feel joy. They prefer to avoid harm, just like you. Okay?
Yeah, we do. You take
All
care of
right.
yourself. Good luck.
All right, you too. You have a good day.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, he's
All
been
right.
there before.
Yeah, I remember now. He has all the cats, I think. He's the one with
Yeah.
all the cats. Yeah.
Right, cat dude. So,
I
but
think
anyway, if you have one more
I
in
think
the
I'm
queue,
gonna
it's up to you.
I think I'm gonna go for now. I'm sorry,
Okay.
LeBron. Next
Yeah.
time though, I'm gonna be here on Wednesday at 3 p.m. Got pew pews a blazing. Vegan pew pews.
Right on.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Other than that, though, thank you, Lori, for
That's
being
it.
up here this whole time.
Yeah.
Thank you, and I really do appreciate your support. So,
Yeah, no, you
thank
had
you.
some good conversations and some crazy ones, but you know, all we can do is one at a time. At a time.
Exactly.
So,
Yep.
yeah. So have a good
Anybody
day.
that isn't
and,
already, go
yeah.
follow Lori. Sorry, I'm trying to do spirit fingers. I can't do it with the reverse camera. It's weird.
Spirit fingers.
Anyway, yeah, spirit finger. I'm like trying to do it, but I can't do it. Anyway.
That's cool.
Yes. Everyone should go follow Lori if they're not. Also,
Oh.
check out any vegans in the chat. Sierra, I saw you. I know Freesia was in there too.
Yeah.
I can't remember. There's a ton of other people, but thank you guys for being there.
Yeah.
And thank you to all the non-vegans in there too. Even the trolls, because you're at least hearing some ideas that you may not even agree with. Maybe you'll learn something. Maybe you'll go look up these resources and learn something, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway.
So you'll be back Thursday, right? Thursday?
Wednesday. I'll be back Wednesday.
At
Wednesday! 3 p.m. PDT.
Okay. Cool. I'll see you then.
Hell yeah. All right, I'll see you later,
All right.
guys. See you,
Good
Lori.
day.
And